that flipped from LSU, and a running back who's the highest rated in the class, highest player so far that's committed verbally to the University of Memphis. This running back from a little town outside of Houston. And because of those two commits, Memphis's class is rated 40th in the country. Those kinds of numbers are better than the recruiting that even Mike Norvell did. What a way to go. But with good, there is bad. We've had our first official football cancellation, and that is of the Southern Heritage Classic. We will have its founder, its executive director, Fred Jones, on the air with us at 4:30 today. And honestly, when I think about that, there's so much that goes into the Southern Heritage Classic. And it's not just the football game itself. It's the ability to do the parade. It's the ability to do the concerts. It's the ability to do the fashion show. All of those are revenue streams that would not be allowed under the way things are at this very moment. And Fred, just after he had a game that got canceled a couple of years ago because of lightning. That would have been 2 and 3 years. I think that was a little too much. He is definitely going to be conservative about this. He will talk about that at 4:30, but we had the cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic. So we've got so much stuff going on today here in Memphis. And, of course, those reverberations are felt all the way down I-40 to the avenues of the Americas in the beautiful burb of Forest City, where that is the location of my cohort, and that would be one Brett Norsworthy.
Hey, Dave, you're right. There's a lot to go over today. Very busy day and maybe some hope. It feels like we've been a month away from baseball for about 3 months now. But critical mass may be being generated for baseball for both sides, limited as it will be. I'll take it, but it will be under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of criticism. You mentioned what Coach Ryan Silverfield is doing. And, Dave, there are a lot of amazing aspects to it. Maybe the biggest, though, this isn't a non-contact period. Wait till he can really get out and sell his new indoor and sell his team and sell his program. This isn't a time where he's having to do it from the bunker, as we all are maybe a little less bunkered than we were, but they are still very much quarantined, ostracized from making contact. Wait till he can get his coaching staff out there on Friday nights and have contact and the phone calls and the notes and the cards sent to players and really turn the recruiting up. He's got a great recruiting team at the University of Memphis, and he is the leader of it, and he knows how important it is. I always say this, though, about anything in recruiting, whether it's 24 hours before signing day or 4 months before it. There's always a lot of time left in recruiting.
Oh, yeah. And we're not even sure exactly what these dates might even be for recruiting when it's all said and done because of all the delays and the dead periods that you're talking about.
I would say earlier would be better, and I'm not saying this being selfish. It's just, I think, a matter of fact. With what he's doing, it's very similar to what Jeremy Pruitt's doing at UT. They would be better served if there was no high school football season. And you can keep some of those threes that might be fours, in Jeremy Pruitt's case, some fours that might really be fives, and they don't have that breakout senior year, and somebody else discover them and offer them and make the run from them. Now, I don't want that writ large for the sport, but there will be a beneficiary of that if we had that. I don't think that will be the case. I do think it will be limited. I even think some high schools, not only will it be limited, but you could see a lot of Friday afternoon games, a lot of Saturday morning games with limited fans, limited bells and whistles, and maybe even shorter on the clock, the quarters being played. 4 quarters, it may be 7.5 minutes, 8-minute quarters, something like that, and limited for travel rosters. Maybe instead of dressing 50 and taking them, only take 30.
You know, it is interesting because we have spoken a lot about the NFL, and now there's more worry with coaches, and I'm going to get into that in the not top story, and they're talking about shortening their season maybe or delaying the start of the season. That's at the NFL. We've talked a lot about college football and what we might see happen there. We had not really talked about what the possibilities are for high school football, and so I'm really glad that you have brought that up.
You were away, David, and you're right. We haven't much, and it was just one day. You were away, but we did have John Varlas on. We probably need to catch up with Glenn Rogers Jr. sometime soon. You're right. And Dave, it's why, and you haven't read the entire roster for yesterday, but it's why today at 5 o'clock I wanted to catch up with our buddy Mark Wise. Number one, he's our friend, and he's really good on college basketball on ESPN. But I'm scared of college basketball having that back burner status. There's no need to wait until October 1st go, oh, yeah, let's start thinking about college basketball. I know the poobahs of the sport, they aren't, but it's no need for us to do it either because I mentioned a couple times yesterday, that long runway that we thought the NFL had, it gets more narrow every day. Same for college basketball. And with Dr. Fauci speaking again today and warning baseball they shouldn't play too deep into fall, but Dave, 1 + 1 = 2. If baseball outdoors, by and large, are retractable roof mostly, right. If it can't go too deep into fall, how are we going to go into these at a lot of places, not FedEx Forum and not Rupp Arena, but how we can go into these bandboxes and have college basketball with fans?
Well, even a big facility like Rupp Arena or FedEx Forum, when they are at capacity, they're close. Come on, you're not at all able to social distance if you
not
do
at all.
No,
and now we're seeing that era. We're seeing a lot of these computer generated aerosol sprays of when someone sneezes or coughs or clears their throat, and 6 feet doesn't touch it.
Well, they did the study, right? If you're singing like choirs. And this is why
really getting on it, yelling,
that
protests, rallies, whatever.
That thing goes 20 feet. It'll go.
I know. Feet. I know. I've yelled at you. It'd go at least 40 foot.
Exactly. I've said that many a time. I have.
It'd go through those walls when we're splitting those rooms together.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Let's just talk a little bit about the baseball for a second because. There is.
Let's do it. I can tell you now. My top story is one of the saddest, and I think the first college football game canceled, and that's going to be the Southern Heritage Classic. I'm really sad about it. I've only been able to go twice in all these years. I've loved both times. You mentioned the multiplier effect. It's not just a 3.5 hour football game.
Oh no,
it's a bowl game. We'll get to it. You want to go baseball? Go ahead.
Sure. I just want to talk a little bit about the deal because. The first word that you heard about it when it first started to come out was that Major League Baseball did reach out and they sent this proposal to the players. And the initial reaction immediately, there were 2 words that were given that made you feel really sort of relieved right off the bat. And that was significant progress. Basically, the players agreed they would not file any kind of a grievance. And after that, the owner said, okay, we will give you 100% pro-rated salaries. We'll start July 19th and 20th. There will be between 60 or 70 games, and there will be expanded playoffs not only for this year, but for next year. So a little give and take on both sides. And at this point, Brett, I really think this deal is going to get done.
I hope so. It will be very muted, very restrained. I hope so. It's taken not all the fun out of it for me. Look, this is day 94, no sports. We get back to sports tomorrow, I'll take it. At this point, I'll take anything. Heck, I'm down to watching, jokingly, the Bundesliga. I'm not, but I understand why people do, and that's fine. I'm not, but I understand if you're a fan of it, that's fine. I haven't watched a lap of NASCAR. Of course, I will watch it. Will I watch it the rest of this year in the short season with the gusto that I normally do? I don't know, but we will talk about it. There's a lot of things I talk about day in and day out here with gusto that I have to because it's our job, and I want to. But I have my preferences like anybody else, just like we do with food and restaurants and other things. We will have baseball as a topic through a World Series being crowned. Yes, for sure we will. But will it be will opening day and the ceremonial red, white, and blue bunting hanging out and the players introduced to the line, will it have that feeling for me? That opening, that Major League Baseball opening day on July 19th.
No, it won't.
And there's somebody out there going, I don't care what it does for you. I want it back. A lot of people want it back for one simple reason, Dave, to bet on it.
Well, there are some of those. Yeah, you're right.
And that's fine, too. Everybody's got their own reason what drives them.
And it may not be the same for you to begin with because there won't be people in the ballpark. But once these games start and once we start seeing stats, once we know a guy's hitting 320, once we know a guy's –
Well, if somebody hits 400, we going to call it that?
I guess we got to, don't we? That'll be an asterisk around there.
I don't have to do anything.
If it's only a 60 or a 70 game season, I don't think there's any way you
What if somebody breaks Gibson's 1.12 ERA?
That wouldn't
what if
be
somebody
right.
breaks Gibson?
That wouldn't be right. You'd have to figure out with innings pitched, and
what if somebody hit 475?
Well, that could happen in a 60 or 70
sure
game
could.
season. That could actually happen. There was one year George Brett. He was hitting well over 400. How many games deep? I think he was 60 games into it.
It was around 4. But he almost hit 400 over the long course of the season.
I know. Yeah, but where was he 60 or 70 games in? That's my point.
Yeah, that's right. I would imagine pretty high. That would be interesting to see where some of the guys that like Ted Williams,
sure,
where they would have been. But again, I mentioned Gibson's 1.12 ERA. Somebody could go out there and obliterate that. In 60 games, how many starts you going to have? 10? 11?
Yeah, that's it. That's right. Not a lot.
All right. Well, you go out there and you're dynamite, and 8 or 9 or 10 of them just pretty good, and the other 2, bingo, there you go.
Well, I would have to think as the season unfolds, the season records won't count. Individual stats will probably count, but not for a season.
How about this? Defensively, somebody's going to be 1,000 in fielding percentage.
Could be. Only 60 games. Don't you want it, though? I'll take it, and then you'll have playoffs, and
I'll take it.
You're going to get a World Series. I'll count the World Series, and I'll tell you why I'll count the World Series. They're still going to have to win the same amount of games in a playoff that they would have if there hadn't been a playoff.
Great point, and then some with expanded.
Right.
But somebody, who was it recently? Was it on the air? Somebody asked me, what's the baseball stat that really can't ever be kind of messed with? And I said, whatever your numbers are for a World Series, because while long time ago it was best 7 of 9 in some World Series, mostly over the long course of history, it's been 4 out of 7. And Mickey Mantle's home run record for the World Series will probably never be broken. Yogi Berra winning 10, playing in 14. They're not adding another World Series. You're not going to get 2 in a year.
No.
There's going to be one World Series, and it'll be 4 out of 7.
Isn't that amazing that he could be in that many and win that many? That one. I don't
clutch-ola that he was, and Derek Jeter made a pretty good run at it, but it's hard to get to. So World Series records are sacred. They can be changed too, though, if they're tampered with or made to be different. I guess we'll roll with it. I'm okay by expanded playoffs, even with 162. I would prefer a shortened season to 152, 154 or so, and add playoffs. But if 162 is sacred and we expand playoffs and we play up to Thanksgiving morning, okay,
I could easily
that's
go
fine.
back to
I can't change it.
I could go back to 154 easy because that's the way it was for a long time. So I would be fine with that. Why don't we get to
I would say you were I'm going to say it was 154 until you were about 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah, I think that's right. We've got a busy
right
show.
Around that stretch.
We mentioned Fred Jones at 4:30. 3:30, our friend down in Tampa, TJ Reeves. John Goen and golf picks coming your way at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we mentioned we will have the executive director, the founder of the Southern Heritage Classic, which is canceled today. And then we will have a discussion about college basketball with ESPN analyst Mark Wise. We have got a busy show, but as always, you know, we're going to start with top and not top stories.
We sure are. After I tell you about the sponsor of this hour, and that's Lexus of Memphis. We appreciate them. Don't forget Father's Day coming up on Sunday, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering that golden opportunity June sales event. Feels like a little bit like fall out there early in the morning. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Great offers on all 2020 models, always on special lease options, driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
I'm going to switch things up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about a really positive story, and that's the opening of the $11.2 million Tiger Indoor Practice Facility, 78,000 square feet, 42-foot eve height, 58 clear ridge height, NFL-level grass turf field. It's got wall pads around the full perimeter for player protection, programmable LED heights with 100-candle performance, scoreboard at the south end. They got those hanging, they call them floating field goal posts, both ends of the field that they kind of bring in and bring up and down, motorized nets, a viewing catwalk from the coach's suite, 2 video platforms, roll-up doors on east and west sidelines with the west slide doors leading to a newly sodded natural grass field they call Field 2, dedicated coaches parking with privacy gate. Here's some fun facts. The entire complex takes up 1.8 acres. It is bigger than all but 5 aircraft hangars around the world. The facility,
Wow.
The facility could hold 16 basketball courts. 78,000 square feet is 11,232,000 square inches.
That's great.
Hardin Field Complex is almost 10,000 square feet larger than the White House. It's almost twice as big as Bill Gates' house. It could fit 485 parking spots or 1,797 king-size beds, and it's 20 times larger than an IMAX screen. How about that?
That's great stuff. That's great stuff, Dave. And wait till you see it when they get it decorated and put up the bowl banners and the NFL players and the All-Americans and all-conference players recognized. When they really get it decorated and you walk in there and you'll burst with pride every single time that you do, and you should. It's been a long time in coming, and the Tigers, they are there in football. Did you ever think we would be to this point?
No.
And especially just a few years ago, and I'm so glad they are. My top story is the cancellation. Cancellation, not post-moment, but cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic you mentioned 2 years ago in the bad weather. So now 2 out of the last 3 years. And Dave, between that and now mask required by the city council, mask requirements continue in many areas, including Oxford. Oxford's had a very onerous, stringent mask requirement for a while now, and people think we're having college football on time with fans like normal. I just don't see it. And Dr. Fauci, he speaks. He says no baseball too deep into the fall. I feel zero momentum. I mean, to my innings thing, okay, bottom of the 4th, nobody out.
That's probably apt because with the negatives that you're talking about, we did get a baseball season that is now on tap to start July 19th, albeit no fans. And if we throw in one other aspect of that, it would be the PGA Tour arrived at Hilton Head. They got tested again today. 0 positive tests. That is the good news.
Not top story of the day.
Well, it's clearly, as Brett said, it's the cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic, which prompted both the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and the University of Memphis to put out statements that said, we are still open for business. We understand Fred's model a little bit different, but we are proceeding as we said that we would. We did have 154 new cases of coronavirus today, which gets us to 7,244. 4 new deaths, so now we're at 146 total. We've had over 100 cases, triple digits, in 10 of the last 14 days, and that's with testing numbers down, but positivity numbers up. So we're now at over 100,000 tests with about an average of 7.1%, but it's been much higher the last couple of weeks. There is, as you mentioned, Brett, a new mask ordinance that was passed by the city council, so you will have to wear a mask once it becomes law. They have to give it to the mayor. Mayor's got to sign it and make it a mandatory law in public buildings and in doctors' offices, and if you go into a restaurant or out, you must wear it. Once you're in the restaurant sitting, you do not have to keep the mask on.
It's not required in your car?
I don't believe it is required. It's in public places. And at this point, I think your car is still considered a private entity. Tennessee, we have almost...
Dave, I don't know. I'm ignorant to it. Is there an enforcement aspect to it?
You would get a warning. There is no financial penalty. If people don't take it seriously and there's too many warnings, they will make it a financial fine eventually. But at this point, there is not a real penalty other than
and
a
for
warning.
how long? Is it open-ended?
I think it's open-ended. And I will tell you, I have not seen the total specifics on it.
Local rules apply, just like in golf, don't they?
Exactly. Tennessee, we're almost 32,000 cases, 493 fatalities. Mississippi had 489 new cases today. And they're at 20,461 with 938 who have passed away. Arkansas, 13,000 with 188 fatalities. In the world now, 8.3 million with 448,000 fatalities. We've had 4,151,000 recovered. In the U.S., 2.2 mil cases, and we are approaching the 120,000 mark in those that will have perished. 119,456, 904,000 recovered. And, Brett, we've had 26 million people now who have been tested.
Extraordinary number, and with that, they're going to jump up. But Las Vegas, the 2-week crowd, they're right. 2 weeks. The spike in Las Vegas after it reopened 2 weeks ago. My not top story, Coach Anthony Lynn of the Los Angeles Chargers says it would be crazy to omit Colin Kaepernick from workout lists. Then put him on yours. Sign him. You have Tyrod Taylor and a rookie as your first and second teamer, and you have somebody named Easton Stick, great stage name, Easton Stick, as the third teamer. Coach Lynn, sign him.
Yeah. Now that makes sense there. A lot more sense than some of the other places that
it would work culturally in Los Angeles.
Yep.
I mean, you're not asking him to go to Nashville or Houston or he
might work.
Some place might be averse to it.
Well, he might work in Nashville. Just because who's the backup to Tannehill? I mean, it just depends on really where you see him.
But culturally, Colin Kaepernick in Los Angeles doesn't rock the boat.
No,
sign him, Coach Lynn. Quit saying everybody else is crazy and get a contract out in front of him.
I will be shocked if he does not have a legit tryout signed with some team when players report to camp. We'll talk about that with TJ Reeves coming up in just a little bit. Don't forget John Goen. It's going to be a great show. Can't wait to do all of the golf picks again. That means we are underway. Off and running on this Tuesday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Five Ash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Five Ash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards any participating Cobra inline golf clubs. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
You get into bed and find your mind still going? If so, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's liquid melatonin. It's made with an optimal level of melatonin for no next day grogginess. Pure Z's liquid melatonin, because sleep is a beautiful thing, at stores now.
Foot odor throwing off your game? Stick to a winning game plan with Odor Eaters. Featuring 3 advanced odor and wetness fighters, the lineup provides long-lasting odor control plus more to keep your feet on their game. Odor Eaters powder provides outstanding moisture control. Clear drying spray is the MVP in preventing athlete's foot, while insoles work continuously to manage wetness while adding a layer of comfort. Pick up today at Walmart, Target, CVS, Dollar General, or other fine retailers. Odor Eaters. Destroy foot odor with the best in odor defense.
This is Eli Savoy from Sports 56 Middays. Join Greg and me as we hit the road again. That's right, we've been locked up too long, so we'll head to Frontier Western Store on Goodman Road in Olive Branch this Friday from 10 to 1. Come join us as we'll have all types of prizes and giveaways, as well as lunch catered by Moe's Southwest Grill. What a great place to get that special gift for a special dad with Father's Day on Sunday. We'll see you Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, as we hit the road again.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in the Family Leisure Studios. I was talking with Billy Connerly a little bit earlier in the day. Family Leisure is really doing quite well. They took a tough situation and they just said, you know what, we're gonna make this good. We're gonna make it so people,
Billy's tough.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay's tough.
Oh, and there's no doubt about that, and smart. And they've come up with this whole thing where you offer contactless purchasing, where they'll tell you to make an appointment. You go there. They'll make sure that there's plenty of space available where there is social distancing throughout your experience. You go in, or they'll bring you a catalog, whatever you want to do, and then they will bring out to you whatever you decide to order. That could be a swing set, and by the way, high-quality swing sets have been discounted to $21.99 all the way from $34.99. And again, they'll deliver to your home or bring it to your curbside. It's whatever you want. Complete pool packages starting at under $1,600. The 24-foot pools at under $2,000. Same price for the 4-person spas, $19.99. The big swimmer spas, they start at $99.99. I am telling you, they have had a great spring and they're going to have a great summer. They're making your backyard a staycation existence. What a good deal. All you got to do is check it out. I-40 and Wynn Road.
Good folks, and I know it crushes Billy not to be at AutoZone Park. He loves Redbirds like I do and loves going to AutoZone Park. But look, they got knocked on the ropes like a lot of us and a lot of people in this with their business, but they're coming back out swinging now.
I hope so, and I hope that there still will be some business at AutoZone this year. It might not be baseball, but it certainly could be USL Soccer. We'll just have to wait and see. The good news today, though, is about Major League Baseball in a Major League town, and a guy who's done some of the Tampa Ray games is our friend T.J. Reeves. You've seen the story. You finally feel encouraged. You think July 19th we're actually going to see baseball?
Well, good to be with you guys, and I guess we should have some optimism. I'm not trying to be the voice of doom. I'm just going to be the voice of caution here, that I am really, until I see otherwise, skeptical here that the plan wasn't all along to play as few games as possible and possibly now paint the players as the bad guys as to why we're not going to play at all, particularly if the Players Association doesn't go along with what's being proposed here. And then that will be the ultimate, see, we told you the players are just greedy, they don't want to play. I'm hopeful that with this face-to-face meeting that means we get something, because something is better than nothing. But I'm skeptical at the moment with everything that I'm seeing. Because remember, the player's stance was no more negotiating. Now we're negotiating. Let's see what happens.
I don't trust Rob Manfred if he says it's 3:33 in the Central Time Zone on Wednesday afternoon.
I don't necessarily trust him either. But here is why I think this will work. One of the things was they wanted 100% prorated, and they went up from 50 games to 60 to 70. We'll have to see what the final number is. And when that was being put out there, the players said, okay, we're happy enough with that we promise you we will not file a grievance. And that was a big part of it. So there was movement on both sides. You got a few more games. You got total prorated salaries. And so that's why I think this is going to happen. And it had nothing to do with Rob Manfred. So, he's the most ineffective leader. I mean, I believe his stock has slipped. If you ever thought that the worst commissioner in all of sports was Roger Goodell, I think Rob Manfred has slipped below him. I'm
going to disagree.
Okay.
Because just from this standpoint, I don't think he's a dumb guy, and I don't think that what has happened now over the last month or 6 weeks is more incompetent than it is stick to the plan. We don't want to play more than 50 or 60 games because in that instance, we are going to be able to at least break even on the regular season / whatever the postseason ends up looking like. But if you go to 90 or 100 games, we're going to lose money. So long play this, slow play this, make them come in at 50 or 60 games. Remember who he works for. I'm not copping out. I don't think he's a dumb guy. I think the owners that he works for never wanted to play more than 50 or 60 games. And they have slow played this now into June when we should have already been playing games and having an 80 or 90 or 100 game season. So
no, I don't think he's dumb. I just think he's a weasel.
What do you guys thought? Yeah.
I don't think it's incompetence. I think he's a weasel, and he has intentionally done this for whom he works for, and where are they? You don't have a single forceful Major League Baseball owner. There's no Mark Cuban. There's no Bob Kraft. There's nothing resembling a Jerry Jones. There's no Billy. No Major League Baseball. None. And the sons of Steinbrenner and the children of Steinbrenner, thank God for the trust fund. They might actually starve, which is really hard to do in the United States. And that is to starve. And they might without the trust fund of the boss. Where's Bill DeWitt? He's talking, and that's the Cardinals owner. He's talking about there's such small margins in owning a baseball team, yet he or his dad have owned a piece of some baseball team since the early 50s.
Right. Well, and again, the fans lose out on this because we're getting no games in June when we could have had them. That's the point. You guys have been talking about that for weeks and weeks and weeks with all the delays here. They had agreed back in March to figure it out, and when it was reasonable to resume, to do so. And so, again, I'm optimistic that we'll see something. I'm still skeptical that if the players come back and say, okay, 75 games, and the owners say, no thanks, we're not playing at all, now blame them to the public, we shouldn't go for it. We shouldn't.
No,
we shouldn't go for that.
I agree with that.
And one more point. More point. Have we? Because I've looked. Have we got any understanding? And we may never know, but we should know this answer. That new agreement with Turner, with TBS, that was signed in the last couple of weeks, extending their
$1 billion.
$1 billion deal.
It's a $1 billion deal. It's a $700 million windfall in the extension that they did. If we learn that is insurance money for 2020, that they are being paid whether the games are played or not, and we end up not playing games, then game over here. That is the ultimate sign that all of this was a ruse, and that all of this is trying ultimately, just like they did 25, 26 years ago, to get a salary cap rammed through. If that new Turner deal is essentially lockout insurance or strike insurance for this year for the Major League Baseball owners so that they make money while games are not being played, while they play the long game of let's ultimately get a salary cap, just like they did back in the early 90s. And before everybody goes crazy, it's not all new owners. You mentioned the Steinbrenners, the Wilpons in New York, Illich in Detroit, the same owner, Peter Angelos in Baltimore, the same ownership groups in Seattle and San Francisco. A lot of them, about 10 or 12 of them, were around when this happened back in the early 90s, and that's exactly what they were trying to do and trying to pull. And interestingly, she's now on the Supreme Court. Judge Sonia Sotomayor of New York is the one in federal court that stopped the owners from what they were trying to do in 95 and said you cannot just declare an impasse and a salary cap. I don't know if we're headed for all of that. I hope we're not.
I hope
we're getting games. Just food for thought. I want to know about that Turner deal.
Look, the Turner deal, I don't
Great
believe,
points, TJ.
I don't believe that's upfront money, which would be your insurance that you're talking about. I don't think it is.
Not entirely. I'm not saying entirely.
Right.
But if they were giving $5 or $10 million per team, let's say, for 2020, and it's payable whether their games or not, that's trouble.
Well, and that could be. Look, I said this yesterday. The owners have always been very quick to say, "Hey, you've got to help us in our losses." They've never said, "Hey, we want to share profits with you." And that's been the case. Those numbers that they're using right now have come from 2016. So even though they got an $11 billion windfall last year, they didn't share with players in that windfall. So that's why there is so much distrust. And I don't say there shouldn't be, and I don't say the owners are good guys. I think the players want to play, and they ended up getting 60 games with full prorated salaries, and they want to play. And so I think it's going to happen.
One more important point, and Trevor Bauer made this point, and numerous other players are now illuminating it and talking about it. When the postseason happens, the players aren't being paid by and large until the League Championship Series or the World Series. I would love to know, with whatever expanded playoffs they come up with here, what's the compensation for the players? Because, again, the owners stand to make a bunch of money from Fox and ESPN and now Turner off of playoff games that doesn't go to the players.
No. They're supposed to share, from what I've read, they're going to share in the playoff pool for the next 2 years. That's supposed to be a part of the deal. All right, let me shift gears, unless, Brett, you got another baseball item.
No.
I want
gear shifting time.
I want to go to the NFL.
I like it.
And we had three coaches. They didn't name who they were. It's an Ed Werder story that basically have said, based on the Dallas Cowboys and Houston Texans positive cases from yesterday, whoa, let's slow down a little bit. Maybe we shouldn't start on time. Maybe there should be a delay, or maybe we should even shorten the season. And we know that the Hall of Fame game, which was sold out, it's only 20,000 tickets, but now that game will not have fans. Give me your sense, what you're hearing down there from the Bucs, what people are saying in Tampa about this start of the NFL season, which a few weeks ago we thought was really going to happen in some form on schedule.
Well, I think, and again, I'm not speaking with any insight in, Roger Goodell and I don't talk. The Glazer family and I, they're not running it by me. But I think what you're seeing is the NFL is going to continue to take this week by week and go step by step. I know that in a lot of states, including in the state of Florida, there's a rise in cases. And we could go on for an hour, and I know you guys have hours throughout the days and throughout the weeks to go over this. But there are reasons, plural, why there would be more cases. One of them is you're doing a lot more tests to find this out. Sure, when you find out that players have tested positive, everybody's going to step back for a second. But the other thing that we've talked about, I don't know, at least 5 times on your show, you've got to be ready for this. You've got to be ready with contingencies about this. What happens if you're in the season and players start testing positive? This is for the NFL or for the NBA that's about to play their playoffs in Orlando, or what happens in baseball? So I think you take it week by week, and for right now, you're still on track to play in the regular season. Now, like we talked last week, are you going to play 4 preseason games? I don't know. And again, I don't have that on any authority. But if you're going to nix things, you would want to nix preseason games as opposed to regular season games. And we'll wait and see. I know there is tremendous excitement down here for the season to get started. The Buccaneers released photos of Tom Brady in a studio wearing the Buccaneer colors and got everybody all excited. They're still continuing those workouts at Berkeley Prep High School in downtown Tampa in the mornings, where he has organized Brady workouts with Gronkowski and Mike Evans and different receivers, and they've been working out on their own. So there's definitely excitement down here. There is no doubt there's excitement.
TJ,
what does that mean?
TJ, Gronk says, and I think the number just in the NFL, that he has had 22 concussions during his NFL career. Now, if that's true, how's he medically cleared to run out on the field ever again?
Well, right.
Without him signing some waiver.
And he has admitted 12 surgeries as well, on top of that, different things, back, elbow, knee, and those kind of things. I don't know, and with him, I have not gotten to know him. I know of him from having watched him and having seen his persona. Maybe that's exaggerated. Maybe it's the truth. I don't know.
You know what? But I don't think he's married, is he?
He is not. No, He's had girlfriends.
Right.
Don't think so.
And I saw a piece that was with his family and his brothers, I think, and I knew he had a girlfriend, but not. You would think the family, the wife, the girlfriend, they'd be going, Gronk, you're healthy now.
It's over.
You have had 22 concussions. Why would you go back? Because we know
his noodle was probably always a little off, but 22?
But we know for a fact that there is a carryover that it's either dementia.
Unquestionable, Dave.
There is no doubt that brain trauma from
ALS,
that,
Parkinson's, MS.
You got it. All those are connected to head trauma. If you've had 22,
anything neurological,
man, you are just really playing with fire.
I've had 2 in my life, and I'm scared of what they have contributed to. Look at me. I know people are going, now we know.
No wonder you retired from golf. Now I know.
Well, and his mother has lived here in Pinellas County in St. Pete, which, Willow, you're familiar with that, with St. Pete and Clearwater. So his mother has lived here for over 15 years, and he's finally getting to be around her. And I'll use his own words just while we're on this serious subject. When he gave an interview last year, and it's online, you can read it. It was a sponsored medical setting where he was talking, and I believe he was being paid to be there. He got very emotional, and he started talking about the aftermath of the Super Bowl win over the Rams in February a year ago, roughly 16, 17 months ago. And he said that night, and shortly thereafter, I think we talked about this on your show, but I'll repeat it here for everybody that's hearing it here. That night, he had taken a hit in the thigh in the Super Bowl. And he said once the adrenaline and everything came down, he got a painkiller and all that. Once everything came down and calmed down, he was in agony with the deep thigh bruise that he had suffered in that Super Bowl, to the point that he could not walk anymore. He's at the post-game party trying to celebrate. He can't stand up. He can't walk. Later that week, he still can't walk. He can't sleep at night. He's now telling this story, and he's welling up with tears. And he says, people want to talk about why I can't play anymore and want to question my heart or question what I've done. That's when he started talking about, I've had 12 surgeries. I've had my knee cut on, my back cut on, my elbow cut on. I've won championships. And then he said something to the effect of, I have earned quality of life for as long as I can have it from here on out. that I don't want to have to do what I did for that week or two after that Super Bowl where I wasn't right for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and couldn't sleep and couldn't walk. I don't need this anymore. And now, interestingly, he's back. He's back, and how much can he play? How long can he play? Is this a one-year thing? It remains to be seen with Gronkowski.
All right, real quick, in a minute, your thoughts on what happened at the Schwab, and we head to Hilton Head. And we know that there's been no positive tests already. They've all been tested upon arrival.
369 tests, and 0 positives.
Well, you're probably going to have one, or you're going to have some at some point in this. But it was great drama last week. You feel awful for Colin Murakawa, who missed the short putts late. There were 2 or 3 guys that missed the short putts late. But there was great drama last week, and let's hope it continues and it builds, and we'll see Tiger back at some point. But the big names were all there last week, and that's a fun old-school golf course back-to-back to be playing at Hilton Head. So I'm excited to watch the golf. Again, we're golf guys. We're slowly getting some sports back. We'll have some optimism here. Let's hope the baseball deal gets done. Sometime soon, and we get some games, guys.
There you go, T.J. Reeves.
I'm with you, TJ.
Great show. He sent me a
team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team.
He sent me a photo of his team.
Yes,
his girls.
I did. I saw it. I got it too.
On the river by Chattanooga, the Olympic venue.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, the girls are growing up.
Time of your life, my
Yes.
friend.
And thank God we survived, and I can keep coming on with you. We lived whitewater rafting.
The terror that was in your face, though. It was very scary.
Abject horror.
So your girls were delightful.
Thank you, TJ.
TJ was having a heart attack. Thank you, TJ. We appreciate it.
See you, boys.
Bye-bye. That is our friend.
You got it, man.
TJ Reeves. All right. We've got to take a timeout. When we come back, my man Brett Norsworthy is going to solve baseball's problems. He's picking a new commissioner. That is next.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hi, folks. Bob Burke coming for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Lots of vehicles to choose from at Sunrise. Trucks, SUVs, late model used cars, and cars under $10,000. Rebates up to $6,500. Interest rates low as 0% and immediate financing available. Come on in, call, or go online to sunrisememphis.com. You can schedule an appointment, select your vehicle, appraise your trade-in, arrange financing and delivery. We'll deliver right to your doorstep. All cars disinfected and ready to go. Need service or body work? Bring it to Sunrise or go online to schedule an appointment. Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Oh, my stomach. When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The world's best dads deserve the best Father's Day gifts, and Ace is the best place to find them. We have a great collection of brands dads trust, like outdoor power equipment from Steel and Ego, power tools from Milwaukee, grills from Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Weber, and coolers from Yeti. Find them at your neighborhood Ace, or order online for curbside pickup or delivery, and make this Father's Day one dad will always remember, with gifts he'll love from Ace. At participating stores, see store for details.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Willochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in the Family Leisure Studios, shaking our heads a little at the cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic. We're sad about that. Bottom of next hour, we'll talk with Fred Jones about that. We are basking, though, in the new facility the U of M has opened up today, that new indoor facility for $11.2 million. We're basking in the commitments that Ryan Silverfield still gets. 2 more today, and they're good ones in his class, now number 40 in the country. And the big thing is it looks like baseball could be
close.
Back. Close.
really close. And that, sometimes that's the longest step. Dave, this is not original at all on who I want to be commissioner of baseball, because it's been bandied about out there for years. I don't even know if he would be interested. Very similar to we didn't really know if Coach Hardaway would want to do this, and he did, and he is doing a good job. But my answer would be Bob Costas for this reason. Any mistake he would make, it would be one out of love. It wouldn't be greedy. It wouldn't be banal. It wouldn't be siding with one over the other. I know who his bosses would be. Right. It would be the owners. But think about the respect for Bob Costas. Anytime anything baseball related comes up, name me another sport that current active media member would ever be suggested to be their commissioner. Nobody would ever say Peter King should be NFL commissioner. Nobody would ever say Woj should be NBA commissioner. Heck, as much as I love the SEC, nobody's going to say I need to replace Greg Sankey or Tony Barnhart or Paul Feinbaum, although some days I think Paul Feinbaum thinks he's commissioner of the SEC, and some days he acts like he is. But that's the enormous gratitude and respect that baseball fans have and know for Bob Costas, that it would even be mentioned. There's nobody out. There's no current golf writer that you go, let Jay Monahan step down and Jason Sobel should be commissioner of the sport. Nobody.
The gentleman that did it for many, many, many years, wrote for the LA Times. Loved golf and was going blind at the
Jim
end.
Murray.
Jim Murray. He might have been a guy that you might have considered doing golf.
Well, and Dan Jenkins might have been mentioned why he was alive.
That's right.
But they're no longer with us. And with that, Dave, completely respectfully, today was 25 years ago. Today was the famous O.J. Simpson Bronco chase. I was on these airways with Paul Hartledge. George was on vacation, and 4 years ago today was the day we lost George.
4 years ago today. That just is amazing. It just does not seem that long to me. 4 years ago today. Wow.
25, being on the air during that, and Paul and I really struggled with, well, I don't know how I'm going to put this, because this was kind of in the break, and Paul sadly no longer around. Well, I don't think it would be to defend himself, but we really struggle. Should we stay here and stay on the air if OJ took his life?
Yeah, well, that was thought. I mean, if you remember his friend that he was riding in that Bronco with,
Al Cowlings.
He was worried that OJ was on the verge of doing just that,
I mean, when we closed that night at 6 o'clock, we both looked at each other and said, we're subject to being fired if there's more news breaking, and we wrapped it up and went home.
Right. But you guys ended up making the right thing, and of course that television took over, and everybody watched that from helicopters above with cameras, and that became a celebrated.
It was
piece
some
of
day,
Americana.
and Dave, that weekend I had two great sports options. I had a crew going to the U.S. Open in Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh, and I passed. And I had a crew going to Dallas to World Cup, and I passed. I was too broke.
Wow. Back to your premise on Bob Costas, and he is a unique individual. And now he is just an announcer of baseball for MLB. He no longer does all the things that he did for NBC, and he can do whatever he wants to. He's made plenty of money.
He was NBC NBA moderator that night of the finals of OJ
was.
Slow Speed Chase.
He sure was. I'm not sure that Bob Costas, the level-headed guy that he is, would agree to become a commissioner when that position is so one-sided. I think you would have to have assurances from the owners that you would be allowed to.
That's a great point.
To
operate
under the philosophy that whatever I do is for the betterment of the game, not necessarily the betterment of your pocketbook. And I'm not sure owners would ever agree to that. And therefore, as romantic and wonderful as that sounds, I don't think it could ever happen.
How practical.
Yeah. That's an hour in the books. When we come back, we do make picks. John Goen will be with us. We are going to talk about going on over to Hilton Head. Whew, we've got our second week in a row already. The good news, no positive cases. And so they're going to tee it off for sure on Thursday. We talk about that in just a minute.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/ProLoyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
Hi, it's The Herd. We're all faced with new challenges these days. If you need legal help for yours, trust LegalZoom. You want to set up a will, maybe a living trust? How about starting a business as a DBA or an LLC? LegalZoom can help there too. You can start online. Their network of attorneys can provide advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom is not a law firm, you don't get charged by the hour. Visit LegalZoom.com for more information. Their site has it all. Trust LegalZoom.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of style with an Untuckit shirt. Untuckit has reimagined the traditional dress shirt to fit a more casual lifestyle. With over 50 sizes, they can fit any body out there. Shop their button-downs, polos, Henleys, and more. Visit Untuckit.com and help Dad look sharp even at his most casual. Or visit one of their 50 stores that are now reopened for business. Use code SUMMER for 20% off your next order with free shipping and returns. Untuckit.com, the place to go this Father's Day. Code SUMMER.
This is Eli Savoy from Sports 56 Middays. Join Greg and me as we hit the road again. That's right, we've been locked up too long, so we'll head to Frontier Western Store on Goodman Road in Olive Branch this Friday from 10 to 1. Come join us as we'll have all types of prizes and giveaways, as well as lunch catered by Moe's Southwest Grill. What a great place to get that special gift for a special dad with Father's Day on Sunday. We'll see you Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, as we hit the road again.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2 on a very busy day, a day where Memphis football has had a great day, opening a new $11.2 million state-of-the-art indoor facility, getting 2 new recruits, which means nationally their class is now ranked number 40. Wow, that is some kind of movement by Ryan Silverfield and all of his folks. A day that also sees progress with baseball. A new agreement, a proposal has been sent by Major League Baseball to the players, and there's a good chance this thing is going to stick, where we'll see a 60 to 70 game season, expanded playoffs, all going to start July 19th and 20th. I have really high hopes for all of that. It's also the day that we saw the first cancellation for college football. Fred Jones from the Southern Heritage Classic here in Memphis at the Liberty Bowl, second Saturday in September every year. For 30-something years, he has had to cancel the game this year. He's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. But we know at this time, every Wednesday, we talk golf with our friend from Timber Trust. That would be John Goen. And we've already got one tournament in the books That was, of course, the Schwab that took place in Fort Worth over the weekend. They all traveled over to Hilton Head Island, and they've been all retested. They're going to be retested every week. No positive tests. So already, John Goen, we got a winner at Hilton Head.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the first hurdle. Well, I guess in essence, second travel week after, everybody kind of being around each other for a full week. That's definitely a positive step in the right direction, and we hope that continues kind of moving forward.
John, almost need a positive to see how we react, to see what the collective freak out would be. Sure don't want anybody terribly ill, and we don't want anybody fatal, but it's almost a miracle. 369 tests this week at Hilton Head, 0 positive, 0 last week at the Schwab. This may be the world's healthiest group.
Well, I mean, I think that was the whole idea behind a bit of the PGA Tour experiment is, you do, though, have a group of guys that are historically, a bit of an individual group anyhow. So, there are definitely friends within those, circles there. But I think for the most part, especially nowadays, these guys can kind of, stay their social distance 6 feet and still be able to get out and be around each other. And I'm sure that all of these host facilities right now are all spacing tables out and probably not allowing these guys to sit too close to each other, maybe every other table or whatever it happens to be. So, that's the whole thing right now. I mean, the onus is really not only on the players, but it's also, on these facilities that are hosting these events and making sure that they can do their best to set up and try to keep these guys as healthy as they possibly can.
What did you think of the quality of play? I think it was you who said that we'd probably be seeing. Oh, it might have been Rex Hoggart from the Golf Channel actually that said they thought we would see single digit under par because Colonial would be so tough, and it really they hit the ball so far that all the old
if they could have putted, it'd been 20.
Out. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. So what was your sense of the quality of play?
Well, I mean, clearly for the guys who, wound up winning the golf tournament, I thought overall it was good. I mean, but I guess, the thing from my standpoint is just going to be how it now ties in week to week, because let's face it, they've taken 3 months off now for the majority of them. So, they have gotten out of a bit of a routine. So, now that there's a group of guys that played last week will now play this week, how do they react? How does their body react to back-to-back weeks after not doing it for some time? But, clearly last week, I mean, this just goes to show, I mean, these guys weren't just sitting on their couch twiddling their thumbs. They all belong to courses or have access to courses in the areas in which they live. And it's that time of the year where they would normally be going, pretty heavy with their practice schedule and workout regimens and everything else. So, it just gave them time to, one, probably stay healthy overall, healthier than probably a lot of them have been going into what would be U.S. Open week this time of year. And so, you've got to think the balance of the year, a lot of these guys probably have a pretty good chance of staying healthy outside of anything major. And, I wasn't overly surprised by the quality of golf. We did talk about Colonial being that old style track and it's a bit shorter. And, that should have led a little bit to, some lower scores, different time of year. They kept talking about how they were, having to syringe greens and everything else. So, let's face it, fairways were probably a bit firmer and faster, but greens were probably still softer and much more receptive than what they're accustomed to there. And it led to scores being, a little bit lower than what you might have expected.
How about the putting?
And John, really, yeah, it was awful.
Putting was not good. Not good at all. But again, I think that might lead, look, you play this golf course year in and year out, you get accustomed to certain things. And, Dallas, Texas, heat, having to syringe greens are going to be slower than you're normally expecting. I mean, they're going to do everything they can. I mean, I remember, hearing the years at Southwind where, hosting this event in July and August with bent grass greens at TPC Southwind, that, they have them great for the tournament, but after the tournament, what they left and what the members played on was doggone near dirt, just because the bent grass couldn't handle it. And you're going to probably deal with similar circumstances at Colonial. I mean, different time of year, much more heat, trying to do everything you can to provide a good quality putting surface for the players, but also having to protect it a little bit so that, by the end of the week, you still are putting on grass and not, mud.
Oh, John, there was one year you could just watch them wilting out at Southwind, and the tournament actually ended, I'm going to say like Sunday, August 1st or 2nd, got into Sunday, and it will this year. The greens are different, and John Daly was having a really good year out there one year. I think Nick Price won it the year I'm talking about. But, Dave, it was crusty and like putting over dirt come Sunday afternoon, so I'm sure the membership, they were howling that following Tuesday and Wednesday at the 1 o'clock game. John, I had a friend of mine tell me that if you have fans up to keep bent grass greens cooler, you shouldn't have bent grass greens. Is that true?
Well, I mean, one, you're not necessarily trying to keep them cooler. You're just trying to create air movement so that you can, get some evaporation. I mean, in our part of the world, a lot of the reason that bent grass has not done well is because we get so much moisture that you don't have a very good root zone structure. When I was in Las Vegas, we had bent grass greens there, and the bent grass greens were spectacular because you can regulate how much water you're getting, and you're in a very arid climate. So, the whole idea behind the fans is just to create some air movement, just to try to, help the humidity and the moisture and all that stuff kind of come out of the ground a little bit instead of it just sitting there. Basically, the best way I heard it interpreted was, summertime, especially in Memphis, having bent grass greens was like, taking a live, piece of grass and throwing it in a pot of boiling water. There's no chance just because there's just so much water already in your greens profile and there's no place for it to go. So the plant just sits there and in essence kind of boils itself.
I loved the concept going in of bent grass greens because it was and is a very true
great to putt on
surface to putt on, but it's too hot and too moist. And
yes, Dave.
And in some areas, as John has
we're
said,
not in Cape Cod.
There's not enough ventilation for those things to survive. Heck, I can remember, John, I think you were here for this. I'm not 100% certain. But when they opened up Cordova Club, a guy named Bobby Jones was building that development, and he wanted a golf course and loved bent grass. He made the entire golf course bent grass, and that whole course opened with bent grass and lasted all of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he had to redo all the fairways. He kept the bent grass greens on the green, but they weren't very good. And what saved everybody in the South to have the same great surface as you did with bent grass was these hybrid Bermudas that thrive in the heat and are every bit as true as the bent grass. Wouldn't you agree?
Bent fairways are great. They're just about 800 miles from here.
Yeah.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, obviously, you're always sold on these hybrid Bermuda, these dwarf Bermuda grass, grasses being very, very similar. But, they're still, per about normal with Bermuda grass. I mean, there's definitely grain. I mean, you're definitely having to work that just as hard as you would. I mean, I remember when we first converted to Bermuda grass over at Southwind in 2004. The whole idea that was sold to the membership was, we're gonna aerify once a year, and we're hardly gonna have anything to do to it, and we're not having to pull hoses and syringe and do all this stuff and the maintenance savings, blah blah blah. Well, all of a sudden, then you get the plan out there, and we're having to maybe aerify twice a year. We're having to do all this verticutting and top dressing to try to alleviate, minimize the grain in the grass and things along those lines. So the overall maintenance of both plants is very, very high. It's just you have the capability you have to do different things to Bermuda grass than you do to bent grass. Bent grass, you're trying to water the heck out of it just to make it survive.
Right.
Bermuda grass, you're having to do all these other cultural practices between top dressing and verticutting, weekly to be able to help alleviate the grain and still provide and create a very good putting surface, which, does minimize grain and things along those lines. So, there's pros and cons, obviously, to each, but definitely this time of year, Bermuda grass in the south and in the Memphis area is a much better surface to have.
And we could see Hilton Head because this is not the time of the year that we normally see it. Next week will be more of a routine because that's about where Hartford would fall after the U.S. Open in June. This week would have been U.S. Open. We would have been talking about golf at Wingfoot in Mamaroneck this week, but we're not. Next week will be a more legit time because usually this tournament, as we see it, it's in April, so we could have crusty baked out green Sunday afternoon and another poor putting display.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the interesting part of how the schedule is going to set out for the balance of the year. I mean, I think we could doggone near, have this, to your point, every single week. It's, River Highlands is going to fall in basically their normal schedule, but what's Memorial going to be like? What are some of these other golf courses that we're accustomed to in different windows going to be like? I mean, clearly Memorial has always fought the rain during their normal time slot. I mean, what's that golf course going to look like? In much more of a summertime condition. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Nicklaus crew can do there.
Well, we'll see it 2 weeks in a row too. 1 week we'll see it with fans. That'll be the second week. The first week, it replaces the John Deere. It'll be the first time, I think, in history where the pros are going to play the same golf course 8 straight times.
How would you like that, John, running TPC Southwind and have to do that 2 weeks in a row? Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning. How would you like that, John, going?
Can I pass on that one?
Yeah, you get to.
I would say this: as long as they bring in the entire team from TPC Deer Run, I'm more than willing to host it 2 weeks in a row, just as long as I'm not having to be there for 2 weeks in a row.
That's right. It's going to be taxing for all of us as we get started back with sports, but it's a brave new world.
It is. Tell us a little bit about Hilton Head, and I believe it's a Pete Dye course, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mr. Pete Dye with all those railroad ties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we talked about last week, right? I mean, we talked about Hilton Head kind of being one of those, old style, shorter type golf courses, very confined. You're going to see a lot of guys hitting irons off tee boxes this week or hybrids off of tee boxes this week because it's not real long and it's much more of a positional golf course. So, it's going to be interesting to kind of see. I know, Dustin played here. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but, we always felt like that Dustin maybe wasn't going to compete in a place where it wasn't a Bombers, golf course. But I think that year he actually played fairly well in this event. So, Harbor Town's always a fun little spot. It's obviously probably going to be much more enjoyable in April and maybe not so much in June. But I still think it's going to be a great week. I'm sure that golf course will be in good shape, and it'll be interesting to just kind of see, how things are. I mean, clearly last week they got very improvisational with, building their own bleachers outside to where they could see some golf.
Right.
And as we discussed last week, I mean, there is a home development that kind of runs through a little bit of this golf course, so it'll be interesting to see how many more fans you might get, around the border of the golf course a little bit. So, but it still should be a fun week. Plus, then you'll have boats and stuff out on the water that I'm sure folks will be cheering on the players as well.
Look at the back nine, a lot of the homes on Southwind. I mean, 16, 17, 18, my goodness, we could have people erecting stands in their on their patios.
Absolutely. I mean, you just never know, kind of what can happen out at Southwind. I mean, to your point, I mean, the entire back nine is pretty much inside the development. So I think it's going to provide, especially depending on, realistically where we're going to land with fans at the event. It could be very, very interesting to see, how large those house parties turn into, and whether we're still going to be putting fences up around the inside of the golf course and things along those lines to kind of keep some folks out. So should be an interesting, week, and we're what, a month and a half away from it.
We sure are.
Yeah, John, before we get to picks, give our listeners a number for a tee time at Timber Trust. I know you've been packed since all the good weather and even during the pandemic, during the lockdown. Give out a number and a way for people to get more information from you.
Yeah, no. So definitely been busy. It's definitely advantageous to kind of make your tee times well enough in advance. You can call us either at 662-895-3530. You can visit us at timbertrustgolf.com to book your tee time. We continue to kind of, if you check out our Facebook page at Timber Trust Golf or Instagram, we're posting pictures on all the golf course projects and things we've been doing. We're actually getting ready to resprig the entire putting green tomorrow. So unfortunately, we'll be without a putting surface for folks to practice on for about the next 8 weeks. We're doing that in the nursery green starting tomorrow once our sprigs arrive from the turf farm down there in Houston. But been a very busy time, lots of projects going on, and but just really, really happy to have some new faces coming out and getting to experience what we're trying to do down here and see how things are different and see how good the golf course is condition-wise and how hard we're working to just really provide a very good public golf experience.
With the first selection, Drew Barrett, who won last week. Dave, do you have a coin counter like at the Sonic to count Drew's winnings from last week?
Bagel, nada, nothing. So we go in reverse order. That's how we do this? I can't remember. Last place,
the least among us.
The least among us.
Well, I was talking to John
Drew
before
and I
the
were
show.
talking though. We feel like this whole scoring system's the wrong way anyhow. Because realistically, in golf, you're trying to go as far under par as you possibly can. So Drew actually had a great week last week because he was even par for the week.
Well, then maybe I should go first.
Then Dave on the selection board. Dave Willochen. Then Drew.
I mean, I think I'm just going to try to be as bad as possible because if you're going to be good at something, if you're going to be bad at something, you might as well be good
on a roll.
You've lived up to that bill.
So I'm going to try to make as least amount of cuts as possible.
All right. Who have you got? Who's your lock?
All right. Not going to make the cut this week will be Bryson DeChambeau.
Wow.
Beefcakes Bryson.
You do realize that he was considered the number one power ranked player this week.
I do, but once I pick him, no way he's going to be able to do it back-to-back
No
weeks.
way he makes the cut this week.
Okay.
Last week, John and I tied with the same money, but since he's the guest, he wins the tiebreaker. John, your pick.
I'll take a bit of a local type favorite or so. We'll take Webb Simpson, kind of from that North Carolina, South Carolina area. So Webb Simpson.
He plays great there. That is
good
a
pick,
terrific
and he
pick.
didn't play well last weekend.
Did not play well last week.
I'm going to take Justin Rose.
Wow. Man, you guys have left me some good guys. So I could go Xander Schauffele. I could go Rory McIlroy. I could go Colin Morikawa.
You could go Justin Thomas.
I could go my guy from last week who folded in the end. I could go John Rahm.
You could go Dustin Johnson. You could go for old time's sake, Bernhard Langer.
I could. I think, man.
You could go Glenn Day, who's playing as a former champion.
I'm going to go. Lord. I'm going to go Rory McIlroy.
Rory Mac for Dave Willochen. Back around to shock time.
Pick. Back it up.
Yeah, that's right. It sure could be, and I would be shocked, John. Drew, your shock pick.
My shock pick. In all seriousness, hopefully he does it back-to-back weeks. He tied T19 last week. I'll go with the 117th player in the world, Harold Varner.
Harold Varner, good pick. John?
I'm going to go with number 136er, and that is Luke
List. I had him on my list.
A champ from last week on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, he sure was.
I'm going to take, y'all are going to laugh at me, 65th official world golf ranking. Last year he was top 10 in this tournament. He was top 10 last week in Dallas, and he was number 2 or 3, or maybe even better than that, in fairways hit, driving accuracy, and that's big on this course. J.T. Poston.
J.T. Poston. I'm also going to go with a fairly obscure guy who's 68th in the world.
65th, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mine is 68th.
I know who you're picking. This is a good pick.
Joel
He was
Dahman.
Joel Dahman, yeah. Picked by one expert at PGA Tour to win this.
Exactly. And he's the guy who's accurate.
He's very accurate, and driving will be a premium, more premium than last week, won't it be, John?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think you're going to see a lot of long irons and hybrids off of tee boxes. You're not going to see a lot of drivers this week. So if you're a fan of the long ball, then you're going to be a bit disappointed because this is much more of a positional golf course this week.
Oh,
Do you guys like the railroad tie motif of Pete Dye? One thing I do like about it is when they hit it, we're going to see some crazy caroms. I mean, almost 60 feet in the air. Sometimes you'll see the ball carom.
I think it's a nice look, But now being a golf course owner, the maintenance on it is probably an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
I would tell you that there's the difference in, say, 25, 30 years ago. When I worked in Dallas and we covered the Fort Worth, the Colonial at Fort Worth, they were hitting 3 woods and drivers off all of the same holes now that they are hitting 4 irons or hybrids off of. And that's what they're going to end up doing at Hilton Head, where years ago you would have used a wood, right? I mean, that's just players getting longer and technology getting better.
Oh, sure.
And they've all got that stinger shot.
Well, I think as everybody's talked about for some time, I mean, I think as much as the driver has been advanced, and you've obviously had to create rules to stop what the additional distance just out of driver. Clearly, the biggest change is golf ball. What they have continued to be able to do to golf ball, and keep it inside of the rules of golf, but to continue to add distance out of it has been, I think, the biggest change that has happened to golf over the years. Yes, driver is up there, but I think the overall change to the golf ball has been much larger than just driver.
Well, and it changes the way you play a golf course, like they did at Colonial last week, and probably the way they'll play Hilton Head starting tomorrow. John, thank you very much. Here's what we got. Drew's lock is Bryson DeChambeau. His shock is Harold Varner III. John's got Webb Simpson and Luke List. Brett has Justin Rose and JT Poston. And I have got Rory McIlroy and Joel Dahman. And we should have fun again watching live golf all weekend long.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, John. I hope you have packed tee times again, like you have the last since April, I guess.
Should be a great weekend for golf, and then getting ready to do a little golf course maintenance on Monday with greens verification. But should be a great weekend to be able to get out and enjoy the golf course. As we said, golf course just continues to improve, and greens are in good shape, and just really excited to kind of get through this last little verification piece and really kind of finish off the summer, and then obviously look forward to fall golf, and it's always the best time of the year. Could be a little bit different depending on what happens with college football. So, but thanks, guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
You got it. Don Goen from Timber Truss, and we are all keeping our fingers crossed for sure about college football. Well, we heard today that there's one game that won't be played, and that's the Southern Heritage Classic on September the 12th at the Liberty Bowl. Its founder, its executive director, Fred Jones, is going to join us in a minute. I'll let everybody know our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. That's right there at Craft Road and Highway 78. It's the very first exit in Mississippi. And they have a business that is truly a partnership. And you know that because the principals are always there. They've had the same staff ever since they've become our title sponsor, part of this family, and that's a good 7-8 years. With the exception of Chris True, who came a couple of years ago, everybody is still the very same, and Chris does an amazing job. He's always coming up with new ideas like 0% financing for 84 months, and even this little incentive here on select models, you've got 120 days to make the first payment on your new car. Now think about that. 120 days. So they understand it's a pandemic. Some of you have been laid off, but now you're back to work, and in 4 months you'll have a little bit of a nest egg, and that's when you start to spend the money on your brand new car. And again, that could be a Hyundai, it could be a Genesis, just depends on the model. And no, these cars are all amazing technology, whether it's safety or performance and durability. Every car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Please go see my friends. You'll thank me later. Go see them at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take the break. When we return, the executive director, the founder of the Southern Heritage Classic is Fred Jones, and he's next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus traded towards any tailor-made inline golf clubs. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Are you tired of staring at that dent? At Mako, getting collision repaired is as easy as book, quote, fix. Come to Mako for a collision repair backed by our best price guarantee. Uh-oh? Better get Mako.
Hi, it's the Herd. We're all faced with new challenges these days. If you need legal help for yours, trust LegalZoom. You want to set up a will, maybe a living trust? How about starting a business as a DBA or an LLC? LegalZoom can help there too. You can start online. Their network of attorneys can provide advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom is not a law firm, you don't get charged by the hour. Visit LegalZoom.com for more information. Their site has it all. Trust LegalZoom.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Here in the Family Leisure Studios, halfway through our Wednesday edition on a day of a lot of blockbuster stories, but the first one of the day was a bummer. and that is the cancellation of the 31st Southern Heritage Classic. The founder of the game, the executive director of the game, is Fred Jones. We always enjoy talking with Fred. We seem to do it at least once a year, that's for sure. Normally it's closer to the second Saturday in September. This time it's early. Fred, I guess my condolences right off the bat. I know this was a very tough decision for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just to say the Southern Heritage Classic 2020 is canceled. That's hard to say and hard to fathom.
What finally swayed you to pull the plug? And I know 2 years ago your game you had a lot of your activities. You couldn't get the game done because of lightning, and I'm sure that was upsetting. I don't know if that was a financial setback or not.
Yes.
But it was, and now this, obviously, you've got so many things that would have been limited. But what was the final straw for you?
When we got the directive from the Shelby County Health Department, where we couldn't do our tailgate, there was no parades. We had already canceled the concert at the Orpheum. There was going to be limitations even with the bands. The band was going to be required 6 feet apart, which was going to limit that. And still hadn't been a real determination of what the capacity was going to be in the stadium. Now, they talked about at 6 feet, maybe about somewhere between 12 and 15,000 people, and we just couldn't make that work. So it was just at every turn with this directive of not going into phase 3. Although if you had gone into phase 3, that doesn't mean that you will be able to have more. That would be determined at a later date. So it wouldn't have been as late, but it would have been somewhere in the future if they had gone to phase 3.
Fred, will these teams be able to play a regular season game maybe at either campus, or will they not play anywhere this year?
I have no idea. All of this happened since Monday. We made the announcement today. I just read a statement from Tennessee State. They're trying to get schedule a game, but that's part of it that went into this decision. And it's amazing when people say this, but you still got 3 months to go.
Right,
Dave. That's not a long time.
Yeah.
With so many things that you have to do and so many people that you have to coordinate, it's not a long time. So we haven't been doing anything since March, but waiting. So are things going to change in the next 3 months? According to the information we were getting from the health department, it wouldn't change enough to be in our favor, where there would be thousands and thousands of people doing what they've normally done with the Southern Heritage Classic.
So that's 2 hits in 3 years between lightning and a pandemic, which is scary in its own right, for sure. But what does that do for your game here? You've got 30 in the books. Will you continue on, Fred, or are you thinking retirement, hand it over to your son? What's going to happen with the game and Fred Jones?
Well, I try to stay in the present moment. I don't try to get too much ahead of myself. We're dealing with what we're dealing with now with having canceled the game and explaining to people why we did it, what went into the all of that. I haven't thought about what happens next year, because one of the things that you're going to start to hearing a lot about, and we've heard a limit about already, if you don't have a cure, and you don't have a vaccine, if we don't have that by the time we get to this point next year, we'll be still having the same conversation. And nobody wants to deal with that, but that's the current reality. I mean, you talk to people all the time, and that starts to come up a lot. What about the cure? What about the vaccine? And it goes into the decision process. So that's why I don't get too far, ahead of myself, because I don't know what all of that's going to be like.
I do think you have a deal, though, with those schools for several more years, don't you?
To 2024.
So with that, with the contract out to 2024, Fred, I understand you don't want to get too far out in the future, but here's one, and it's kind of future-driven question. What can the city of Memphis, what can the Liberty Bowl Stadium, what can Memphis Chamber of Commerce, what can Memphians do to help you going forward with what you've endured 2 out of the last 3 years? I mean, could it be better stadium agreements? Could it be maybe more of the take on concessions and parking, or maybe even a rental fee for tailgating? What could help you? Because you've helped this city with 31 of these, and it being a traditional landmark sports weekend, second weekend in September. And we talked earlier, Fred, about the multiplier effect. It's not just a 3-hour football game. It's a week-long celebration and festivities that just keeps multiplying that dollar effect.
Well, that's why I want to get too far ahead of myself, because I got to sit down when all of this kind of settled down and figure the financial side of it out. You cannot have 2 major cancellations in 3 years and not take a financial hit. And yes, all the things that we've done and what we represent for the city, that I'm sure that's going to be in consideration. But at this time right now, we're just trying to get over this hurdle of just having to cancel the Southern Heritage Classic. Now, this one is different from all the rest things that we've had to deal with over time, whether it was the cancellation of the game, whether it was 9/11, whether it was Katrina. This is the first time that we had to cancel everything in the Southern Heritage Classic. So anybody that's in business, the city, the chamber, everybody is like, I mean, I can't tell you how many people are asking that question already. How are you going to be able to survive? That's something that I would have to sit down with everybody and try to work through.
Your model, and we should point this out, is a little different than, say, other bowl games, because other bowl games are certainly given a big TV contract. I don't think you have quite that. So you make up for that with, and I think I read somewhere where you had to have 75,000 fans between concerts, parades, tailgating, and the game itself. And so you have a lot of different revenue streams, and if you can't have those, how do you survive? I guess that's the question, right?
You don't. That led into what we had to consider. Once we got down to the fact that everything was going to go away from the support of the Southern Heritage Classic, and then the game was going to be limited, and when you limited the fans in the stands, it's also going to limit your sponsor participation, and it's also comes into play that you don't have a television deal. So sometimes people have asked me, well, other people are going to do things, but every situation is different. And I had to bring this to their attention. One of the major things that's been talked about was that only season ticket holders will be able to go to the game. Where if you have 15,000 fans seats, where your season ticket base, or the people that have already sent money in on tickets, will cover that right away. Now that won't take care of all of it, but it doesn't leave you like we are, where we had to go out and actively sell these tickets. When you can say, okay, you got 20,000 season ticket holders, well, 15,000 of you all going to get a ticket to the game. We don't have that option.
Right. And I have no idea, but what were the fans or the schools, Jackson State, Tennessee State, saying about their own fears of coming with the virus?
Dave, you asked a really good question. It's not just from the schools. Everybody talk. When you listen to people talk about how many people come into the stadium, how many was going to be the capacity for the stadium. Say in this case, it's 6 foot. It's going to be 15,000. Nobody really talks about if 15,000 people are going to show up to the event. Now, when you have a situation like when you have season ticket people, that's a little bit different. But in my case, it's like we automatically think that if you have a 15,000 capacity, that people is automatically going to show up. Okay? It's not going to work that way. Here's a case in point. I had a group of people that have bought hundreds of tickets from us for years. They've been involved in every classic, even the one that was canceled. They decided that this year they were not going to participate because they don't know how safe it's going to be. So it's clearly indicators out there that people have some reservations. But even before I got to that level, I was dealing with the Shelby County Health Department to say, these are the limitations, these are the restraints, certain things you're not going to be able to do. If you're going to come to Tiger Lane, you can't expect to do Tiger Lane like you've done it before. And if you were to open up Tiger Lane, then you have to police it to keep people separate. Who's going to do that?
Who wants to do that? You're right. And
expensive.
And the risk, really, that unless we have the cure by then, and by September 5th or 12th, that's just not going to happen.
Let's hope.
Your point about the season tickets is a good one, Fred, and I'm going to bring it around this way. If you're buying tickets for the University of Memphis or Ole Miss or Tennessee or Arkansas, you could go, you know what, that first game on September the 5th, if I don't go to that game, I'm still going to buy the ticket. But I'll go to the games later. And this way I know I'll have my seat. And if I don't go to the games, I love the school. That's my alma mater, or that's what I grew up with. And I'll give the money because they need it, and I want them to survive. But with one game, and those folks aren't necessarily loyal to you; they're loyal to their school at Jackson State and Tennessee State. So it's a huge dilemma, and I could see where you really had to make a quick decision. I hate it for you, but I understand it.
Well, Dave, it wasn't really a quick decision.
No,
it was an ongoing question that you keep asking. When are we going to get some directive from the health department? When are we going to get some direction? And I didn't get that letter or that notification until they made the decision that they weren't going to phase 3, and that was June 15th.
And then everything's fluid anyway. So you might have gotten phase 3, and they could have said 40,000 are coming, and then we get a second surge, and who knows, right?
Well, again, that's why they didn't go to if you listen to them, that's why they didn't go to phase 3, because they weren't very comfortable with what was going on. So you could go again. You could get to mid-July, at the end of July, and still not have an answer about what you can and cannot do. Once they stayed in phase 2, this is what you can do and this is what you cannot do. And most of the things were, you cannot do this. You cannot have these crowds, these clusters of people. And with the Classic, everything is a big cluster.
No doubt.
We got thousands of people everywhere doing everything at every level. Our luncheon is 250 people. That's more than it is in level 2. We have a reception for 45,000 people. We have a concert at the Orpheum that they haven't really decided what they're going to do with the Orpheum. All the Orpheum events going forward all the way into the fall have been either canceled or postponed. So it's a lot of question marks out there. And at some point, somebody would ask me, well, why you make the decision now? Well, they didn't give any indication from the health department that things were going to change dramatically, quickly. So either you make the decision now or the decision be made later. And we don't know, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be dramatically different than what it is now.
I hate it, Fred. I really do. I hope next year we're talking about the 31st Southern Heritage Classic, that we have some sort of treatment or vaccine, and that you are back in business to do everything you want to. Thank you. And again, I feel terrible that you're the first one that's really had to cancel around here.
Well, I've been asked that question several times. Believe it or not, the cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic has reached all the way to the New York Times. Okay? For that same reason, that you're the only one, but I'm not going to be the only one, but everybody, whether it's David Lotion or the New York Times or the Atlantic or whomever, nobody, when you talk to most people, they have not made a decision, including the NFL. And I asked both of the people, correct me if I'm wrong. I've been studying this from when it first was announced, trying to get clarity, trying to get some information, and still we at the same place here on June 17th of not having a clear direction from the leading sports agency entity in the world, and we all still waiting.
Well, you're right. You're not waiting now. You maybe it's for a year, that we know. Thank you, Fred. I know you'll hang in there.
Yeah, well, it'll be tough. We had to try to figure out next steps financially, so that's going to be the next challenge.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fred Jones from the Southern Heritage Classic, brought to you in part by the Memphis Tourism and Sports Council. We just had this, and the Sports Council is always trying to help Fred and be a part of that game. And we've seen that go away, but you can experience the great outdoors with amazing amenities thanks to these folks. As a community member or even a visitor who comes, you can go ride bikes through Shelby Farms Park, cross the city on the Green Line, glide over the Mississippi on the Big River Crossing. These are just some of the reasons that make Memphis one of America's best bike cities. Outdoor enthusiasts also won't want to miss Bass Pro Shops at the Pyramid and take their gear to fish, kayak, or paddleboard on the waterways. You know what? If you want to be a spectator, let's hope we get some USL 901 FC soccer before it's all said and done. The team at Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council will try to make it easy to plan your path for exploring the great outdoors. All you have to do is visit memphistravel.com and get outside today. We take the break. The cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic has caused the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and the University of Memphis to put out a statement. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hurts. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi, it's the Herd. Start your day with M-Drive Start. It's the world's best morning shake. New from the guys at M-Drive. Start is packed with elite-level nutrition and protein. Fires up your body, gives you the lean look we're looking for. Shirts coming off in the summer. M-Drive Start has an industry-best 7 clinically tested ingredients and 6 sources of protein to support energy, recovery, and lean muscle. It also includes digestive enzymes, collagen, vitamins. The list goes on. No other morning shake touches this formula. Get elite-level nutrition and protein so you feel great in the morning. Check it out at mdrivestart.com. You wake up looking for energy, you've got your product. And as part of the launch, the guys at M-Drive are offering 25% off if you sign up for their easy-to-manage subscribe and save. So go to mdrivestart.com, try it yourself. Elite-level nutrition. M-Drive Start.
Oh, my stomach. When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles. When smiles are hard to get, you'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemonbrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our second hour of the day on this Wednesday. We just had Fred Jones on, and he talked about why he made the decision to cancel the Southern Heritage Classic for this year. That prompted the U of M to put out a statement early this morning, which said basically the U of M was made aware of the difficult decision by the Southern Heritage Classic to cancel. Memphis Athletics will stay in close contact with state, local, regional health officials for guidance on home football games this fall, and all current indications are that home games will be played as planned. And then it said most likely season tickets only, and so you need to buy, and then pretty much the same thing. They plan on playing at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl later in the year, at the end of the year, and tickets are still available. And, of course, they'll be in touch with the local health department and regional health officials. So we obviously are getting from different models, different financial models, Memphis and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and the Southern Heritage Classic. They plan on playing.
They plan on playing. But I don't know how an event scheduled for the second weekend in September can't go off according with a lot of parameters around it according to health officials, the social distancing, the ban, the tailgating, but something can go off the weekend before that. And we've talked many times during this that it will be very fluid, almost scheduling on the fly. Mm-hmm. At what point would Memphis city officials, county officials, health officials give the University of Memphis time to move the game, if need be, to Jonesboro, where in Arkansas it is much, much, much more relaxed?
Well, I would say the difference here is even Fred said you could play with 15,000. If Memphis has 20,000 season tickets, they may have to decide. They'll also get television money for that game that Fred's not getting. And they're not dependent upon all those other outside things. Fred needs 75,000 folks clustered together for his success to take place. Memphis does not necessarily. So I think because they are different financial models, and Memphis could get away with surviving with only 15,000 for that game, that
without
that
Tiger
works.
Lane.
Without Tiger Lane, there would not be Tiger Lane. But that Tiger Lane is nice, but it is not the essential thing, or as big to Memphis's financial football success as Tiger Lane may be for the Southern Heritage Classic. If that makes any sense to you.
It does.
And that's 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we're switching gears again. We're going to talk college basketball with ESPN Hoops analyst Mark Wise. He's next.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab-stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of hand-cut fresh steaks, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Father's Day is coming soon, so make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
Casper's the sleep company with outrageously comfortable products at not-so-outrageous prices. And now you can help Dad upgrade to the comfort of Casper with the Father's Day sale. Save 10% on any mattress order or get $25 off. All you have to do is spend $100 or more on gifts for Dad. This Casper Father's Day sale is going on through June 23rd. The offer excludes bundles, the Element mattress and sale items. Limit one offer per customer and order. See Casper.com/terms.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes, always for free. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Visit Frontier Western Store this Father's Day for the perfect gifts for Dad. From now until Father's Day, you'll save big on the classic Carhartt K87 short sleeve tee. Get 2 for $25. Frontier carries every color they make, including this year's brand new colors. All sizes are in stock and on sale, small to 4X. All Carhartt Force t-shirts are 25% off too. This hard-working cotton blend wicks away sweat, resists stains, and has a relaxed fit, giving Dad plenty of room to move. Save big on Force at 25% off. Also, all men's pants and jeans, $5 off. Wrangler, Carhartt, and Ariat. Every pair of khakis, jeans, dungarees, and even FR workwear, $5 off. All Carhartt shorts are 25% off too. While you're there, grab Dad some boots. You know he'd love a new pair. Frontier has thousands of boots in stock at amazing everyday low prices. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Sportstime.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of style with an Untuckit shirt. Untuckit has reimagined the traditional dress shirt to fit a more casual lifestyle. With over 50 sizes, they can fit any body out there. Shop their button-downs, polos, Henleys, and more. Visit Untuckit.com and help Dad look sharp even at his most casual. Or visit one of their 50 stores that are now reopened for business. Use code SUMMER for 20% off your next order with free shipping and returns. Untuckit.com, the place to go this Father's Day. Code SUMMER.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Third and final hour on this very busy Wednesday. Mark Wise from ESPN, our guest next to talk college basketball because, Dave, I fear college basketball does not need to lose any more time. Get ahead of their schedule and plans for next fall when we may be entering a second wave or not. We'll see. This hour brought to you every day. I'm sorry, Dave.
I was just agreeing, yeah.
I think it's time, and Mark Wise is one of the wise men of college basketball, wise individuals around the sport. I can't wait to visit with him because start now. Don't wait for the football only. I know how important it is revenue-wise, but don't wait for it too much longer because time starts slipping away. We've seen it with baseball. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road. Visit them online. Check out the happy referrals and the very pleased customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. The town and country experience that you will enjoy down in DeSoto County at DeSoto Auto Sales, where the employees at DeSoto Auto Sales treat you like a member of their family. Laid back, down home atmosphere, no high pressure sales. They want you to have the ultimate car experience because they know we're living in a world today that is very confused at times, and time really matters, and that's why you can walk in, find your car, deal with your sales rep, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour, about 45 minutes to be exact, in time to do it over your lunch hour immediately, like right now, after work. It's that simple. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test-driven, all checked out head to toe, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, and quite literally every make and every model. Down on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales. Come on down for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Mark Wise is a wise man. He covers college basketball for ESPN, and he joins us on a pretty regular basis. We're always thrilled to have him, and it's kind of a wild day. We've had baseball. Looks like they're going to end up starting to play. We've had great news for the U of M with a brand new indoor facility and some terrific commits verbally to the football team that makes the U of M the number 40 overall ranked team in the country when it comes to recruiting for a group of 5. That is almost unheard of. We did lose the Southern Heritage Classic today, and we haven't talked any college basketball. So we turn to you, Mark, for guidance. What the heck is going on?
Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you, Mark Wise.
Hey, fellas, I got to tell you, I am so humbled that you would have T.J. Reeves and myself on in the same day, and you would honor me by being the drive time guy
Better
and
believe
let that
it.
other dude
Absolutely.
go earlier in the day.
We're going to let him know you said that, too.
We're smart. We may
He
not,
likes to go early.
We may not be
He's-
wise, but we're smart.
He's got
give you
family
my,
duties at this time.
I'll give you my strange time story first. And we're certainly living in strange times, both athletically and as a country and as a planet, really. But I did get a chance to wear my mask, wear my gloves, flew out, got to see my new grandson
Congratulations.
last week in Wyoming. And on June 8th, that was last Monday night, Tuesday night, in Laramie, Wyoming, there were 4 inches of snow.
Wow.
It was that wet, heavy snow. Trees snapped all over town. We lost power about 9:30 at night. It's just a bizarre time. That's all I can explain.
Sleet and snow on Sunday at Yellowstone.
Yeah. I mean, it was otherworldly. It was bizarre.
So I don't know. Have you had much contact at all with producers, anybody from ESPN, athletic directors? I know you're really hooked in with the SEC. What is the sense that you are getting from them, if any?
Well, my sense is they're trying to put their best foot forward in terms of planning. My other part of me, the analytical side of me, says we're all going to operate 2 weeks at a time. I just don't see how you can get around it. I think you're going to plan for one thing, and you better be able to adjust within a 2-week period. And I'm talking about whether that's testing protocols or how you're dealing with the pandemic. What happens when too many people come down with the virus? I'm talking about schedules. I know, my wife is the volleyball coach here. They're having to adjust some non-conference scheduling. I'm curious to see if people are going to travel as it relates to football, soccer, volleyball, and that will bleed over into our world of basketball. I know, a lot of people, a lot of experts are telling us there's going to be another wave, and so, how that will impact basketball, I think it's going to be 2 weeks at a time for a long time this athletic season.
I agree, Mark, and I run generally cautious, if not a little bit scared of a lot of things, because I've seen a lot of goofy stuff. Here's one thing that I think we naturally will be scared of, a little bit sensitive to. We're already seeing it a little bit in China, but another outbreak maybe in
Beijing.
In Beijing. Thank you, Dave. In Beijing. Mark, this is getting ready to be an annual drill, and I'm not saying it's going to be overly dramatic, and I'm not going to say it's not going to be because of caution, but we can get ready for every January 10th, the rest of our lives. Here comes another one, and we're going to have to be very buttoned up about it with the first couple. And I see college basketball starting, stopping for years now.
I don't know about years, but I do think we're gonna have to be ready to adjust. In terms of my own broadcasting world, with what I'm talking with other broadcasters and other people, I think you're going to see a lot of caution as it relates to traveling people. So that means you might see more Remy broadcasts. And for those of you in your audience that don't know what that means, it's remote integration, something, where the production, and it used to be all the time the announcers were off site. I did a number of games that way 4 or 5 years ago. And then they went to what's called a Remy Pro model, where the production is off site, meaning the producer, director, all of the truck, if you will, is in Charlotte or Bristol or at Disney, and the announcers are there. The audio is there. The camera people obviously are there, but the truck people, everybody that would be in the production. So I think I can easily see that happening, especially to get started here in football, and where that goes. I think we're going to just have to kind of play it 2 weeks at a time.
The remote stuff, I could see happening at least for a while. I hope it's not a ramification where they go, you know what? It's a lot cheaper to do it this way, because I don't think you can call a game or really understand a game as well from a little studio 300 500 miles away than you can. And I think you guys are right. I think it is going to be fluid. And Mark, you touched on something that I've thought a lot about and talked about a bunch here too. Is how much can we take? What will the answer be if we're 3 games into the season, or really down in Orlando for the NBA, because that's maybe coming up on July the 31st. How much can we take if 3 or 4 guys on a team, maybe it's 2 starters and a couple rotation players, they can't play? Does the game go on? Do you forfeit the game? I mean, what happens when that occurs?
It's all about the protocols. And again, football is a different. To me, football is different because the numbers are different. But coaches are going to complain. Well, my best guy's out. My quarterback's out for 2 weeks. He's in quarantine. Well, for this one particular year, coaches especially ought to be thrilled with any kind of season that we get. So I don't want to hear these coaches
get your backup
complain.
ready.
Yeah, I don't want to hear them complain that, they were at full strength and we weren't. Forget that for 1 year. I mean, this is such a unique situation that I'm hopeful that coaches, and I'm talking about the college coaches that I deal with and am around, have a little bit more humility about them as it relates to our game.
As we try to sort all through this, have you had any coach say to you, we probably shouldn't even play?
I have not. I think everybody is that I've discussed this with is optimistic. I think, after you all agree that we're, as a group, optimistic, where you go is the strange part. Now, there's going to have to be, in my estimation, there's going to have to be some sort of national voice on this. I mean, let's just take the hot spots that are going around right now and apply that to college basketball. So what's going on in Houston right now? Would the University of Houston be allowed to come play at Memphis? I just don't see how that would be possible right now.
Right.
So I think you're going to have to, I keep coming back to this. I hate to keep sounding like a broken record, but there's not going to be any, well, let's look at our schedule in August and start talking about what might happen in January, because the January schedule may not be the schedule until January 1st.
I don't see how you can do that.
Million miles away.
I don't see how you could possibly change it that quickly unless we're just talking regional and I mean, you've got to be at least
on the fly
a couple of months ahead of yourself. I can understand, Mark, when you say, you know what, it's June, and we can't talk about January right now, but we need to talk by September about what's going to happen in November, maybe July, but what's going to happen in November. You've got to have maybe a very
but
fluid,
we've kind of done that.
Maybe
Dave.
a very fluid plan where you're going to, you know what, we are going to set this game up, and here's a backup for that and a backup for that. But you can't just say, come January, we're going to try to pick up 5 games. I mean, that's impossible.
I would argue it is possible. It's just out of the box thinking, and we've never had to do it before. But your pickup games, as just spitballing here, I mean, your pickup game might be Arkansas. Your pickup game might be
Arkansas State, UT Martin,
you may
Vanderbilt,
Little Rock.
Ole Miss, right?
That may be a league game before it's all said and done,
and may have to designate it a league game. Exactly.
I just think we have to put everything on the table. And here's what I do know, guys. I know that as much, and I agree with what Dave is saying. There needs to be a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. I promise you, at some point in time in this basketball season, we're going to get to the point where the plan does not fit. I hope I'm wrong.
Me too.
I do think this. I think if fans are involved in this college basketball season, it will become more complicated. I don't think there's any question about that based on what I know about how this spreads and indoor versus outdoor and close proximity and social distancing and whatnot. So I think all these things have to be on the table.
Economically, no fans. How many schools can do that? How many can handle that? I know football is the bigger breadwinner. There are some schools, though, that their economic model is based on season tickets
Wichita
to
State.
basketball game. Yeah,
Correct.
Wichita State's the most in the American, the best
Gonzaga.
example.
Well, I had the opportunity to talk to one AD about this, and he talked about, they rely on ticket sales for 55, 60%, somewhere in that vicinity.
Right.
And the TV money is about 30%.
Okay.
So, and then your other, fundraising avenues are included in the other 10 to 15, 20%. Here's what I know. If we have games and you're not able to get that 55, 60%, I promise you're going to get the 30%. If games are played, they will be on television.
Right.
Now, the question becomes, okay, well, if we can't get 55% of the ticket revenue, can we get 20? So that's the complicated process that I think basketball is going to go through for this basketball season. I just don't see any way around it,
right,
unless, of course, we get a vaccine or a therapeutic along the way
right.
that helps us.
That's the miracle. But let me do the math with you, okay?
Yeah.
So let's just say it's 30%. That's what we're going to get from TV, and I'm not sure. Maybe the American has that kind of a deal. I'm not sure the Sun Belt does. I'm not sure the Missouri Valley Conference does. But let's just do the math. 30% TV, and I'll be really generous, and I'll say 10% from donations.
Yeah.
40%. Are you telling me that athletic departments, if that is their main cash cow, are going to be able to survive on 40% of what they normally bring in?
I think the universities are going to have to bite the bullet for this one particular year, and I know they'll have their own fiscal problems.
Sure.
But I think the universities are going to have to bite the bullet for athletics in this one season of uncertainty that we're headed toward.
That makes sense. And I'll tell you, when you talk about the uncertainty of the universities themselves, as long as you have on-campus classes, they should be okay. If we don't have on-campus classes, look out. Now we got a whole new can of
that's
worms.
a different. But again, the universities, Dave, and I'm getting off topic here, but the universities are going to have the same kind of protocol. What are you willing to live with?
True.
That's what we're all trying to decide right now. How can we have some sense of normalcy and yet be safe? And man, I think that target keeps changing, doesn't it, day by day?
Sure, it's
every day.
The great word, and I got this from the great Jack Salmons, who is the general chair of our golf tournament here, the WGC. He says the word of right now is called fluid.
Yeah,
and he's right, because every day everything seems to change.
So I'm going to bring you around to my 2-week plan.
Okay.
By the time the end of summer, you're going to go, you know what? We've seen the NBA. They had to do this. The NFL's having to do this. MLB's having to do this. I'm on board with college hoops 2 weeks at a time.
Sell me, baby. By the way, just so you know, the NBA protocol, I got sent their booklet of protocol.
Right.
113 pages. The glossary is 3 pages. 113 pages of protocol. My gosh.
And Kyrie is still complaining?
Yeah.
He is. Mark, could you see a scenario where next spring we have the NCAA tournament at a bubble-type situation, and the teams that win, they stay. The teams that lose, they leave the bubble and go home?
Brett, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think all things are on the table. I think you have to think that way. If you're not thinking that way, I don't think you're living in the times that we're in.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I think you have to think in that term. I don't want to. Well, we've never done that before. Throw that out.
It's time.
We've never had
It's
basketball
time to be
in a
bold.
pandemic.
Well,
they weren't.
that's
They
right.
weren't playing basketball in 1918 for the most part with the last pandemic. So, anyway.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you can go back and look at things, and honestly, the NAIA did forever a major tournament.
Great point, Dave.
In Kansas City.
Bring everybody.
And frankly, we'll get to see what the NBA. They're bringing 22 teams.
Yep.
We'll see what they do in Orlando, and now you got a little bit of a book written there. You see what they do with the NAIA. Granted, they don't get the big crowds, but crowds may not be involved in this, as you were just talking about. So you look at what their model is for how they do it. I know this. I know a referee who does the NAIA championship every year, and he never leaves the building. He's in a hotel connected to the arena, and it's easy to have that bubble.
Well, if it's interesting because that particular tournament, I think games start at like 8 a.m., don't they?
Yeah, they do.
In the opening day. And so that tournament has operated successfully with limited attendance for years, for many years. It wasn't that the old Kansas City Municipal Auditorium
yes, it still
where that
is.
used to be play?
They still play it in there.
Yeah, so, and by the way, I mentioned 1918. I know Dave was doing some games, but there was no truth that I was doing games back then.
Let me tell you, Mark, I could just say we think these are hard times. Back when we had that pandemic, we were coming off the World War. Then we had the pandemic.
Driving Model Ts.
Then we had the Great Depression. My goodness, if you lived in that and lived through that, and so many did.
And Dave did.
That was a lot tougher.
Oh, it is free game today.
Man. So we're going to go 2 weeks at a time. We're going to call it the Wise World or the Wise Way.
I like it, Mark.
The Wise Way.
Hey, here's the thing. Remember this. Football decides what games are played when, sometimes a week ahead.
Yeah, 6 days out.
So this is not that big a deal. It's not that big.
Times.
You have
They
your
just
opponent.
give
I
you
get
the
that.
times. They figure out 15 years in advance who they're playing.
Right. No, I get that. But again, that's the kind of, I think, 2 week thinking we're going to see this year. A lot of.
You really think where you are, University of Florida is going to be able to, so they were supposed to play a conference game against Georgia, and oh, wait a second, we got 5 guys on Georgia.
Right.
They're out. Okay,
Well,
let's call Florida.
Play Florida Atlantic.
Let's play Florida State or Florida Atlantic, and you can get that game within 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There's going to be relief. The NCAA is going to give relief, guys, like they have with scholarshiping in baseball.
If you can
There-
work
there's
this
gonna-
out, Mark, I think you should become the commissioner of college basketball.
Well, first of all, can I just say we need a commissioner
I agree.
of college basketball. So I wish that were the case. I would not want the job, not in a million years, but we certainly need a commissioner of college basketball, no question about that.
I love your theories. When you get this a little bit more refined, we are going to have you back on. We need to talk with you a little bit more often.
Protocols, out of the box thinking. That's the direction we have to be in right now.
I love it. The Wise Way. I love it. Terrific stuff. Thank you, my friend. As always, we appreciate it. Stay healthy. Oh, the grandchild. Tell me about the grandchild. Was this your first meeting?
Our first meeting, we were not able to be there on the birth.
Right.
So we had to wait for 6 weeks until it was safer to fly. And Jack David, named after my father and his the in-law, if you will. Dave is my daughter-in-law's dad. So Jack David was born, doing great, and so that's now two grandkids for us. And if you'll call me back, maybe in a week or so, I'll give you some basketball scoop that I cannot tell you right now.
Ooh, we'll do it. Mark that down. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a done deal.
You got it.
Mazel tov on your second, and what a great middle name that kid's got. That's all I can say.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me on.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Be safe, man. You got it.
That is Mark Wise, and he's truly an extraordinary outside-the-box thinker, and that's what makes him such a great basketball analyst. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and the tankless water heater. Get into 2020. This is the technology, saves you money in the long run, and you never have to worry about a tank bursting in your attic because there is no tank. You only use, really, the water that you're heating. That's the only time you're spending any money. And you never run out of hot water. That's the great thing. And right now, if you get a tankless from my good friend John Conway, which is about 98% efficient compared to 65% efficient for a tanked water heater when it's new, you can get one for as low as $79 a month. Or John says, give you $300 for your old relic, that old tank water heater. Go check it out. And you know you get the service. 8,000 five-star reviews on Google on Conway. It's an amazing organization with great technology and very affordable right now. If you call 384-3511, 384-3511, Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Back in a minute, halfway through hour number 3 on this Wednesday on Sports Time with Wallow and Stats.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab-stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of hand-cut fresh steaks, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Father's Day is coming soon, so make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus towards inline Callaway or Odyssey Stroke Lab products. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
At Walgreens, we know summer may look a little different this year. That's why we've made it easier to enjoy the moments you do make with new ways to shop. With shop online and pick up in our drive-thru, or quick same-day delivery on select items with Postmates, you can keep summer going. This week, find great deals like buy one sun care item from your favorite brands like Banana Boat, get one 50% off. Walgreens. Offer valid with card while supplies last. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See Walgreens.com for details.
Golf is back. That's right. We have a full weekend of golf ahead of us. And even though the trophy is reserved for the winner, the big cash prizes don't have to be. To add to the excitement, DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports, is putting you in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes with your first deposit. It's easy to play. Just pick 6 golfers, stay under the salary cap, and submit your lineup before the tournament tees off on Thursday. The more red numbers they have on the leaderboard, the closer you'll be to winning some green. Rack up points for pars, birdies, finishing position, and more. Download the DraftKings app now and use code HERD during sign-up. This week, DraftKings is putting you in the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes. That's code HERD, and you could get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
For 95 years, Saya LTL Freight has hit the road to deliver the goods that keep businesses and communities moving. Now, in this uncertain time, we won't stop going that extra mile, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together for the long haul. Saya LTL Freight, driving stability, safety, support, and strength. Visit Saya.com. That's SAIA.com. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Halfway through our final hour. Brett, if I say to you, 'tis the law, what does that mean to you?
'Tis the what?
'Tis the law.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, it will tomorrow and Friday when we start talking Belmont. 'Tis the law's the favorite of the Belmont Stakes, 3-2 odds.
Is that right?
Yep.
Any kin to maximum security?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But unfortunately for maximum security, he was against the law.
We'll talk Belmont tomorrow with Dick Girardi, famed track person, and on Friday, another famed track person, Paul Rogers. We'll get some basketball conversation in with Paul, but 'tis the law. You got me. Now, historically, traditionally, and we'll also talk the Belmont with Bruce Marshall, who often goes to that race. And often goes to a lot of the Triple Crown races. We'll see how it goes off. That's usually a 6 or 8 horse field. I mean, a very small field. So if it's that small this time, have you seen the field?
Yes,
10. All right, well, that means there are only 10 horses on planet Earth that can win the Triple Crown this year.
That is correct, and you have to remember that it is not going to be the long.
Marathon,
longest race. No, they never race as long because it's the first. They're not doing that this year, and 10 horses. The favorite 'tis the law is coming out of the 8-hole, and it's a big favorite, 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah,
like some of those college football odds released day.
Yeah.
The Tigers are 13-4, the second best in the AAC to win the AAC this year in football.
Which is UCF or Cincinnati won?
UCF 11-10, and I think Cincinnati was 9-2.
Huh.
Opening day opponent, Arkansas State, third best odds to win the Sun Belt at 8-1. Lou Lafayette 3-1. App State 5-6. Opening day for the Tigers against Arkansas State.
Is there a line?
That game could be in Jonesboro.
I don't think that game will be in Jonesboro. I'd be shocked. I don't think Memphis would give up a home game unless you know what? If they wanted,
you'd be shocked this year. Dave, let me tell you about 2020. We didn't have an NCAA tournament. We didn't have the Masters.
True.
We hadn't had a baseball pitch yet.
Well, we're going to have the Masters in November.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure about that one. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I'm sure of anything. And I know in realism and not trying to be a funny guy that the vaccine quite literally would be the miracle drug that maybe we've seen in our life. Now, we also, Dave, you lived at a time where polio, especially among infants and younger children, was a real scourge.
Right.
And that was probably one of the noteworthy advances in medicine in your lifetime, if not of the 20th century. This would be the winner. This would be the Heisman Trophy winner of medicine. But then, as I alluded to, reference with Mark Wise, and I don't think it will be scare tactics. I don't think it'll be clickbait. I don't think it'll be that. I think it will be natural fear, natural sensitivity of every around Christmas time and a new year now. Here comes that next big bad virus from over there. Dave, in the late 60s, we had a flu that killed over 100,000 people in the United States that was dubbed the Hong Kong flu. It seriously hospitalized Bill Russell. They feared that he may pass from it. A lot of people, a lot of players on the Philadelphia Eagles were very sick from it. We didn't miss a thing. Nothing was canceled. We plowed right on. This time we're up to what now? About 116,000 nationwide, and it's going to blow through that.
We are almost 120,000, 119,456
right?
As of about 1 o'clock today. So
and I know yesterday at the COVID-19 project, it was the fewest deaths on a Tuesday, which is usually the worst day because the weekend lags. But yesterday was the fewest Tuesday deaths since March, and we talk about the deaths in Shelby County, and what are we up to, 146?
In Shelby County, we are at I want to say it was 142. Let me double check my numbers here. 146. You're right on the money.
146. Well, that's
4 new deaths today.
That's divisible by. How many people live in Shelby County?
Almost a million. If you
almost a million.
If you take the metro area in, I
think so.
I think just Shelby County itself is like 796 or something like that.
Well, that would be 0.01.
It's small.
It would be small, but we don't want it going to the 2.2 million that we feared in the beginning. We're getting ready to annually get into here comes another one. And how do we handle it? So, again, like we were talking about with Mark Wise, if Orlando goes off well, you could see an NCAA tournament maybe in Orlando next March.
You could. I don't dispute that the NBA, if it comes off, will absolutely be the roadmap to figuring out how to do this, as long as you
What
don't,
if they had to cut a number of teams?
As long as you don't have the as long as you don't have crowds, and you wouldn't you know what, you could stagger it. I mean, if it's got to be 22, 22, 22, you do that.
Yeah,
that's 66, but you could do that.
And would the NCAA, instead of 68 teams, just have it at 48?
Or they could do that too. There's a lot of different variations that you could go with. You could do the WNBA is doing a deal at IMG down the road in Florida, so you could do something there if that works. And yes, yeah.
And on the vaccine front, Dave, we would hope that it would be picture perfect. But what if its success rate is a little bit like the annual flu shot, which is really scatter shooting and just trying to catch up with last year, and it only has a 65% effective rate?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm counting on Dr. Fauci and all those scientists and the 139 different vaccines that are being used.
My days of counting on Dr. Fauci have long since been over.
Maybe so. I still have,
because he's everywhere.
I still want to have faith in him.
What day of faith, though? The day of no mask or the day of wear a mask in the shower?
Well,
he's been everywhere, Dave.
I don't think he's ever said mask in the shower, but he's gone back and forth on
Dave,
the,
I was exaggerating to make a point, but you know what the point was. He's taken every side of every issue.
He's changed, and at the
he's
very
changed
moment,
from last week.
He's definitely more conservative this week because of the number of cases that have gone up. And, testing numbers have gone down and cases have gone up. That is not, and positivity has gone up. That is not a good sign. That is for certain. But,
he sat there for years in a job that really required not a lot of public persuasion, not a lot of being in the public's eye. And then when the big one hit 3 days before it, he's on 60 Minutes saying no big deal. He even said there's no way to get the American public to accept a lockdown. He hadn't been close. He's been as bad as most people that are in a bureaucratic job for almost 40 years as they usually are.
You think we've really embraced the lockdown? I don't think we embraced it. I think we tolerated it for a short period of time, and then we stopped tolerating it, and that's why we're opening up as quickly as we are, and that's why we're having the spikes.
I'd say 40 million people without a job had some kind of lockdown.
Well, that is true.
It was for some reason they lost their job.
Well, that's the pandemic itself. That's businesses stopped because we didn't want to overrun hospitals.
They were told to.
They didn't want to overrun hospitals. And
I just think his leadership has been so inconsistent is being kind.
Well, I think it's like everything else. With more new information, we're all fluid. I mean, I could see how you could easily, make the case that he's been wishy-washy, but I do think he's had certain principles all the way, and that has been, let's be very conservative with this. And I do think we did a good job.
He wasn't conservative.
Early.
Again, 3 days before the Rudy Gobert moment, he's on 60 Minutes saying it's no big deal. We got it under control.
Yeah, but
everything will be fine.
Right. Once that hit, though, he definitely was talking social distancing, washing hands, and wearing masks. But
he has been all over the place on masks.
Well, we're all in masks now in Shelby County because that is. Or at least in the city of Memphis. I better be careful about that because that is the city council that passed that.
That
mandate.
is the Memphis City Council, 9-4 passed that.
Right.
And the four recalcitrants were mainly on the front of how are you going to enforce it? Will it really be enforced, or is it just finger wagging and shaming of you should have a mask on?
Yeah. I have just watched, I got to tell you a story on the PGA Tour and the testing. And I just watched one of the players, I don't know who it is, that just got tested. And they did that deep nasal swab. Oh, my gosh. I mean, that looks.
What test are you going to take?
I am going to take a test. I think it's out of Walgreens where you go and you self-administer it with personnel there. And you go into your nose and you do it circular 5 times one way, 5 times another. Then you take it out and you put it in the other nostril, do it 5 circles one way, 5 the other, and then you hand it to the nurse and they tell you 24 hours later.
Didn't Doug Bell
Has
tell
it
us
proven to be
yesterday about
effective?
a saliva test that they're doing on the PGA, though?
There's some that you can do with just saliva. Mm-hmm.
Has the nasal swabbing been proven to be effective and reliable? Because we've had so many false negatives. We've had false positives.
I don't know. I really don't. I would think that if they all got tested with this deep one, which apparently is supposedly the most effective, then it must work because they had none yet last week and none this week.
And that's one thing around college sports, and particularly I think around the media, why I think it will be so very limited if we have college football and we have games, whether we have games at traditional stadiums. That's where I guess we'd have to have them. I don't know if you played fanless, why do you need a 80,000 seat stadium? Couldn't or 50,000 seat stadium? Yeah. Couldn't you play the game at MUS?
Sure.
And save a lot of money?
Well, you got wait. You got to be at a stadium that gives you good television angles, so you're not playing at MUS.
You do have to do that because we will have to have that for the money component of the TV rights fees. But I just think if you really don't matter, you're not going to be there because they're not going to want to spend the money on testing you every week and the potential that if you were a false negative and you really were positive. If you just really don't matter, I don't think you're going to be there.
Back to your original premise about the relaxed atmosphere in Arkansas as opposed to Shelby County, Tennessee, at this point. Your premise, first of all, I think states will be closer. Just a gut feel as we continue to ride this roller coaster that we're on. So I think condition and protocols will become more unified as we go on further and further along in this. And if it didn't, though, I could see that move being made as long because now there's this long series between the two, so they could easily go, okay, we'll give you this home game this year. Next year, you'll be coming here instead of us going there. So they could swap that out. I could see it, but then you're also got the issue of if you've sold your 15, 20,000, 25,000 season tickets, which Memphis hopes to do, what do you do about that game? I guess you got to refund
I just think somewhere in the fine print or not so fine print, in the very bold print, 2020. I mean, Arkansas with 197 deaths, 65 per million in population. I mean, it's not even close to the seasonal 10-year average of seasonal flu for its deaths. Exactly 300 less than the state of Tennessee.
This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and then, of course, their sister company, Genesis of Olive Branch, same building, and they're getting bigger. And by the way, there's going to be a Genesis SUV. I can't wait to try that out. I love the SUVs, although now I'm kind of hooked on my G70. It's the fastest car I've ever had. It's a performance car. If I put that thing in sport mode, it flies. But not only does it fly, it handles. It changes the setup of the frame somehow, some way. That's high technology. These cars are amazing. And as I said, the technology with safety, also the same way, where I can push a button. Oh, it blows my mind. I push a button and the darn car will pretty much drive itself. You can get that on the Hyundai as well. And they're all durable. Both Hyundai and Genesis, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car. And I love talking about my friend Chris True and all the gang that have been together for years and years and years. They're always thinking up ways for you to save money, to get that brand new technology. These great cars right now, 0% financing for 84 months at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. And another little caveat here, 120 days to make your first payment on select models. Some are 90 days. So we're talking 3 or 4 months before you make your first payment. If you've been unemployed, now you're back, this is the deal for you. Just go see my guys, and you'll find out the way car business should be done. That's what you'll find at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Our final timeout right now, and when we come back, it'll be crunch time.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
I'm here with Robert Cox, kitchen manager of the Rendezvous Restaurant. Tell us about those great ribs at the Rendezvous.
Rendezvous stands alone in a unique barbecue style, only found in Memphis, Tennessee. We don't smoke our ribs, we char-broil them. The guys cooking our ribs have been doing it for 30 years. Mr. Charlie Virgos taught the guys the technique himself, and still to this day, they teach newcomers that come in the door. After our ribs come out the pit, we pre-cut every order, so you easily can tear them apart. We baste our ribs on a plate and sprinkle our season all over them.
So Robert, are ribs what everyone comes to the Rendezvous for?
The beef brisket is now our second best seller behind the ribs. We also have lamb riblets, half chicken, pork shoulder, chopped chicken, cheese and sausage plate. Nachos are fantastic. We also carry a Greek salad. The list goes on.
Robert, where can we find out more about all of these great options?
Our restaurant menu is online at hogsfly.com, and recently we just added our catering menu online.
Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous Restaurant, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis, in the alley since 1948.
Upgrade to luxury. Visit the Umansky Luxury Complex at Ridgeway at 385. Umansky Maserati and Alfa Romeo, Lincoln of Memphis, and Acura of Memphis. One convenient location for incredible brands. Ridgeway and 385. Come see the Italian race-inspired performance of the Stelvio and Ghibli, precision-crafted performance of the RDX and MDX, or the amazing new Aviator, Navigator, or Nautilus. Rates as low as 0%. Payments from $279. 90 days until your first payment at the Umansky Luxury Complex at Ridgeway and 385. Well qualified buyers. Offers cannot be combined.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The world's best dads deserve the best Father's Day gifts, and Ace is the best place to find them. We have a great collection of brands dads trust, like outdoor power equipment from Steel and Ego, power tools from Milwaukee, grills from Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Weber, and coolers from Yeti. Find them at your neighborhood Ace, or order online for curbside pickup or delivery, and make this Father's Day one dad will always remember, with gifts he'll love from Ace. At participating stores, see store for details.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hey, clones, you've heard me talk about Walmart delivery before, but now Walmart has the fastest delivery service yet. Walmart Express Delivery. Get groceries and more delivered from their door to yours with no contact delivery in 2 hours or less. Zero markups. Same low price as in-store. Don't let work, kids, an at-home workout, or whatever else life throws at you right now get in the way of getting what you need when you need it. Try Walmart Express Delivery today. Restrictions and fees do apply.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get in fame.
Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is officially crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learn today those odds for every conference around the country in Las Vegas. No shocker, Alabama favored to win the SEC. But I mentioned Arkansas State. Regardless of where that game's played opening day, that's a tough game. It would be even tougher up there if it had to be rescheduled on the fly. That Ryan Silverfield would not like that.
Well, just keep in mind, as of right now, that game is September the 5th at the Liberty Bowl. A couple of tidbits. Phil Chamberlain, who is one of the great guys in Memphis sports, he is now the new MUS tennis coach. He will replace Bill Taylor. He'll still be, I think, running the outdoor tennis courts or the indoor tennis courts there by MUS. And Fran Dunphy, the former coach at Penn for many, many years, and also at Temple. And then last year was the first year he did not coach. He is now the new interim AD at Temple. So good luck to him. He still teaches classes there. He is a really good guy.
Could have done without how poorly the Houston Cougars football operation handled that first round of testing. College football, I don't know what they have to bat, but it's got to be close to 1,000. There can't be many missteps, and it was a horrible misstep by Houston to so sloppily handle their reporting and their testing. You can't cut any corners, and Dana Holgerson's program, oh, man, it's been cutting a lot of corners the last 2 years. Not impressed with him at Houston. And Tillman Fertitta personally hired him.
I could have done without this story. The NBA Coaches Association fears new league standards and guidelines in that protocol we were talking about could bar team staffers in high-risk categories for COVID from attending the restart in Orlando and could severely jeopardize their future employment opportunities. NBCA Exec Director David Fogel, President Rick Carlisle have concerned several assistants, 3 head coaches, Mike D'Antoni, 69-year-old, Alvin Gentry, 65, Greg Popovich, 71, could be restricted from leading their teams and then could face considerable challenges in resuming their careers.
And the referees, Dave. Some of the older referees.
Right.
We'll keep an eye on that. The NBA plans are really complicated and thorough. You mentioned the dossier that it came out in. We'll keep an eye tonight on baseball. Do we have a baseball season tomorrow when we gather at 3:00? Good news or bad news?
Good news. I think we got a season. Drew says
nope.
no.
No way. They'll figure out a way to screw it up.
They will. It's Bobby Manfred.
I am the one positive guy. We thank TJ Reeves, John Goen, Fred Jones, and Mark Wise. Interesting stuff from Mark, as always. We'll do this again tomorrow afternoon. Same time, same place. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy